What's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube and Rumble subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush and KB back at it again with another episode of the Just Chillin podcast, but it's technically an unofficial Young Guns podcast because we are going to have a guest that pops on in maybe a couple minutes or so. Very well known. Shout out to Bobby Skinner of Talking Giants. Wow. Speak his name and he shall appear, because that's hilarious. I said shout out to Bobby Skinner and he appears here just like a magic genie or something.
Yo, what up, Bobby?
I can't tell. You're gonna need to clarify
We
for me,
live?
Bobby. Yeah, we
Yeah,
live.
we live.
I can't tell what your initial reaction was to the Blake Martinez news. You wanna relay that to the people? What your initial
Are we
reaction
live?
was? Yeah, we're live.
Oh. Well, my first one was like, whoa, I didn't see this coming. But when you start thinking about it, and looking at the little details, the question to me is why didn't they do this in March?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If it was actually
like they lost out on $2 million cap space. You know, they had to restructure Adoree Jackson $5 million, so that could have been $3 million instead of $5 million. You know, for a team that's really killing for cap space right now. Why there should have been better foresight? You know, it's not the biggest deal in the world. You know, you're not losing your mind about it, but it like every like reasoning why I hear is like, well, that should maybe it didn't look great coming off the ACL. It's like, well, you knew he was coming off an ACL. Like, what did you expect?
Which is a little bit of a surprise because he came back early, didn't he? Wasn't the recovery time way quicker than expected?
And this idea that he looked horrible in practice, we were practices. We never saw that, and no one reported on that until today that he didn't look good in practice. No one did. It's like, oh well, it's not a scheme fit. It's like, well, Wink Martindale was a defensive coordinator when they restructured him, so it's not like some huge shake your fists in the air, but it's like this should have been some.
It's like a right
sure
shot.
We're live?
Too.
I don't see
why. If you're looking at StreamYard, what I do is I capture StreamYard and I go through Streamlabs. So you'd have to pull up.
Tripping. I was like, man.
Yeah.
I was like, I know you guys have people that listen. And I was like, there ain't nobody in here.
Yeah, you'd have to go on YouTube, and that way you could pull up the chat and see what's up with it. A little bit of a mishap, but like StreamYard is the only place that actually allows us to have multiple people. You know what I'm saying? And then Streamlabs allow me to customize it the way I want to customize it. As y'all see, we got Joe Shane on the bottom left, Blake Martinez on the bottom right. Once again, shout out to Mr. Bob Skinner, guys. If you aren't already, go over to Twitter, follow this man, and of course, follow the Talking Giants podcast on all audio platforms and YouTube as well. Kid Blue, Gio, let me kick it over to you real quick, my man. What was your kind of immediate reaction to it, and then I'll get a little bit to the chat here.
Well, I was shocked just as anybody else. I really didn't even intend on making a video today or even doing anything like Giants related. I was actually catching up on Hard Knocks, and I was like, catching up on that. And then the Giants app sent me notifications saying that Blake Martinez was released. I'm like, what the hell is this? And so I go in to see the details. They really don't talk much about what happened. And, there's a lot of speculation, obviously, talking about cap space, scheme fit, coming off the ACL. I don't know. I just feel like there's more to it. Obviously, we could all speculate. We're not going to get any probably real insight till later on if we do. But yeah, I was definitely shocked. And quick question: did Blake Martinez play in that third preseason game?
Yeah,
he did. Okay,
yeah, he played a couple of series.
Right. So I don't know. Maybe it was the writing was on the wall. We just didn't see it. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just think it's a little peculiar that
Well, they're not saving any cap space, and
right?
It's like even if he's not the same guy, he's still better than Tay Crowder.
DeQuartavius Crowder, bro. We have DeQuartavius Crowder and Micah McFadden as our two starting linebackers.
Well, and that's the thing is those are two guys who are a lot better when they play next to a Mike linebacker. Neither one of those are those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tay Crowder looks a lot better when he's playing next to Blake Martinez, and he even did in preseason. And then Micah McFadden, I like Mike McFadden a lot. I was hoping he would win the starting spot next to Blake throughout camp coming into it, but he's also not your Mike linebacker. So you kind of have two guys who aren't Mike linebackers on as your starters right now. So, and again, I know he was on an expiring deal. He wasn't part of the long-term plans, but they didn't save any cap.
Is the timing of where it's happening?
Well, even if he didn't look great coming off the ACL, like I don't think that would have stuck around forever. And you think about like if he did look good at some point, someone's going to give him some money. Like it would have formulated into the comp pick formula.
Right.
And then like I gotta go, or at least wonder about if he was disgruntled, like I see Diggy saying here, because he lost both his captainship, even though like 20% of the team is captains now, and he lost also the green dot on his helmet. That's now to McKinney, which isn't necessarily too much of a surprise because I learned when that was announced that apparently it was a safety call in the place for Wings defense last year.
Yeah,
so that's just who he likes.
Yeah, the green dot shouldn't be any reason why,
Right.
because that's just something that's safe. Like for Wink Martindale, it's one, he just likes the safety because he can see everything in front of him. And then two, there's times where Wink Martindale is going to take the inside linebackers off the field and run 4 outside linebackers and vice versa. So he just needs someone who's going to be on the field at all times, and that's McKinney. Also, McKinney is part of the long-term future, so you would think you'd give him some responsibilities.
What
and
about
I can
the
understand him
captainship?
not liking being a captain, but that doesn't, you aren't just hunky-dory and then you're not named captain and then you're like, I don't want to be on this team anymore.
Who was it that
And I think
reported
that's
that it
on the
was a
coaching
mutual
staff.
thing?
Like you gotta control egos and handle players, and it's not like, dude, does any of us think Blake Martinez is some like disrupting force? Like
No.
Right.
like,
That he's the last person I would think would be like going through this kind of like how we're
he's
speculating that
like-
maybe he wasn't happy here. Yeah, because and then especially with him he missed practice yesterday, right? And it was due to personal reasons that we don't know what that is. Yeah, I thought it would be like the typical stuff. Someone's having family issues or whatever. That may be like a sick family member or something like that, as it usually is. But I guess it's something more than that now.
Go
yeah,
ahead.
but and do we think Blake Martinez was going to be like a locker room cancer or anything?
Definitely not.
No.
Like he was a captain. He was a captain as a free agent signing. Like he's a guy who's about the team.
No.
So it's again, is this like some? It's just we kind of expected them to do this in March. So it's just like, well, why didn't you do it in March? Because all the reasons of why it didn't work out now were very foreseeable.
I mean, we got rid of Bradbury months ago, right? Who was also part of the same free agent class.
Right.
Same reasoning, like, oh, we just need the cap space where we don't have money at all right now. Yeah, we're 1 week before the regular season. That's where it really just not necessarily irks me, but I'm scratching my head. I'm like, why do it 1 week before the regular season?
Also, he took a huge pay cut, so I'm sure that
exactly.
The only thing that it's he wasn't happy, that would make sense to me because like the beat reporters, they love to report stuff after the fact. So like, oh, he wasn't happy with his role in the team, but he was the starting linebacker. He was the number one linebacker. He was through all the camp. There was never a time where he wasn't. There was times, and I saw like, well, there was times where he came off the field in practice, and people said that was his rehab. Well, it was his rehab because whenever he was on the field, he was the starting backer, and the guy that would come in was Darian Beavers. You say, well, maybe they were trying to get Darian Beavers that role. Well, guess what? Darian Beavers never subbed in for Tay Crowder one time. Who was behind Blake on the depth chart. So the only thing I could think is if they went to him again with another reconstruct. Like, can you?
I was just about to bring that up. Like, they already restructured him once, so it already had the appearance that
since he
we wanted him
signed,
on the
what is it
roster.
like? Since he signed 4 times now, his contract has been restructured. Am I counting one too many?
It's like 4. I think it's 4.
Well, the reconstruct, they're fine. Players don't care about. In fact, they like restructures because it gives them more guarantees, long-term guarantees.
Yeah.
But he didn't take he took a pay cut in March.
Yeah.
Like he sacrificed, he could have just been like, no, just cut me, and I'm gonna go get the best contract I can out on the open market, which probably wouldn't have been great because he's coming off the ACL injury.
Yeah.
But still, so at the same time, I could see why he was bothered about some things. Like, I took a pay cut for you guys, and you're doing whatever this. So, and I think that's a part of coaching and stuff too. When Logan Ryan was cut, it was like, oh well, he was so much part of a culture of the last locker room. It's like, well, like you can't get Logan Ryan to buy in. Like, he seems like a guy,
right? That's what I'm saying.
He's
Like,
buying in.
like Logan
like,
Ryan isn't gonna be there in the locker room and be like, no, I'm a Joe Judge guy.
Yeah, it's like no, like Logan Ryan's a Logan Ryan guy. Like, he's not gonna, hold grudges on Wink Martindale because he liked Patrick Graham. So
Joe Judge wouldn't do
again,
this.
it's one of those things where it's like it's not the biggest deal in the world, but it is like you should have better foresight. So it's a L. It's a L for Joe Shane. It's not the biggest L in the world, but it is an L for me.
I agree. This should have been done a while ago.
Let me
If it was gonna
go
happen.
ahead. Let me just get a couple comments here from the chat. The first one in, Edward Chan. What's up, Edward? How you doing? He says, Shane is on the tank for Stroud train. I don't necessarily know if he's on the tank for anybody train just yet. But
If he
I
was,
would
he would have
yeah.
just cut him in March.
I would
Right.
say that we're just not prioritizing. This might offend some people or come out the wrong way. I don't think we're prioritizing winning because I don't know if that's necessarily a number one priority for the team right now, which is fine. You know, you just got
Sure.
a new regime in here. Maybe they're just
They're
trying to.
save. I don't know.
I would
Sure,
guess
I
they're
agree
just
with
trying to
that.
fix
It's
the
the first-
roster to their thing. Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
first year of a rebuild. That
Yeah.
all makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But then why didn't you cut Blake in March?
Exactly.
It just comes back to that.
It's like yeah, there's like so many questions, and then the
Like, it all
moment you
comes
feel like
back
you
to
come
why didn't you do this in March? So
exactly the moment you feel like you have a conclusion, you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. At the end of the day, they should just cut him in March.
I want to find out what Blake's issues were. Like I'm very curious. Like it could tell the whole story on this. Like, you know, Jordan went on and said it was mutual. And
do you think he just?
I was like, what does mutual mean? He's like, they
Yeah.
both agreed to part ways. I was like, I know the definition of the word mutual.
You put mutual in the
I was like,
dictionary.
why though?
Bobby, you were there for every practice, training camp. I was there for two of them. He didn't look bad at all to me. Like, so like,
the
we
first
can't
day-
even say he looked washed. Like, I can't even say that he didn't look bad after the injury.
Well, the first day I watched him a lot, and I was like, he looks fast. Like I went back and looked at my training camp thoughts tweet, and I was like, he looked fast.
Mhm.
I was like, he looks good. So it's a head scratcher, you know, and it's a head scratcher because of I've said this 20 times on this podcast, and hopefully you guys listen to Talking Giants some more and hear me say it another 20 times. But it's a head scratcher because of when it happened, not because like why would you ever
happened,
think about
yeah.
cutting Blake Martinez? It's
Yeah.
like, well, you could have saved an extra $2 million if you did this earlier.
I feel like
But-
maybe obviously Blake Martinez probably, like everybody said, disgruntled about maybe his role, right? Maybe that may be true. And like I said, I think the plan was to have Blake Martinez on the roster. That's why they restructured him in the first place. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done that. And I feel like they put themselves in a spot now. A lot of guys are getting hurt. They may need some, quick cash, I guess. And just did they save anything at all cutting Blake?
What do you mean by say anything?
No, save.
No, they saved 200,000, so nothing.
Wow.
Yeesh. Oh my god.
Bruh.
So I can't even say that. So I can't even say like, hey, they their budget really didn't go into plan and they just needed to, release a player to get some cap space, because that's not even the case. So it's like, I don't know. It's just all speculation now until we get I feel like in the next coming days, I'm sure we'll get some sort of, maybe we don't get the whole truth, but we get a little bit of it, Maybe we'll have somebody from Blake Martinez.
Yeah, do your jobs,
comments.
beat reporters, please.
Exactly.
Figure out why. Don't just tell us they didn't have it wasn't a great fit. It's like, well, that could mean 90 fucking million things. Tell us why.
I also want to know why.
Why.
I want to know why, like you brought up, why is it that now stuff is coming out from them that, he wasn't, like you were saying, the negative stuff is only coming out
Because beat
after the
reporters
fact.
like to pretend they knew stuff all along when they didn't know.
Yeah.
Tell us the
Let's
information,
get Pat
bro.
Leonard on the case. Let's get Pat Leonard on.
Hey, if anyone will get that info, it is Pat Leonard.
He will ask the questions.
True
yeah.
or not true, he'll get it.
Listen, and by the way, guys, I know some people think my chat is behind. It's not. It's just that I can't read every single comment as they come in. Otherwise, it's not a podcast. I'm just reading what you guys are saying. Next up is Nova Nebula. He says, cutting Blake is a mega L. Be ready to see this defense get ran all over straight up the middle. What do you guys think about that?
Oh yeah, the defense is gonna be
yeah.
It's gonna suck this year. It's gonna be so bad.
I gotta
ready.
I gotta give a
Micah
shout out to
McFadden
Diggy because
season, Bobby.
Diggy's been telling me for
Micah
like
McFadden
weeks
season.
that this defense is gonna suck, and I was holding out hope, and I don't know. I just don't know anymore, yo.
I feel like the D line will be, I guess, the best.
Our
part of it,
D-line
but
isn't even deep,
once a
bro.
running back hits the
Well, right
second
now
level,
our
it's
edges are
off.
both hurt, so now we
Yeah,
have O'Shane
that's
Jimenez and Jahad Ward as
Oh,
our
man.
one guy who has absolutely no pass rush value, and one guy who supposedly does, even though he doesn't get pass rush production and is horrible in the run in O'Shane Jimenez. So it's a week one, man. This defense and offenses always start faster than defenses in NFL seasons.
Mhm.
I don't care who the Titans have at wide receiver; they might put up 40 on us.
I know,
Not
they have
only
no
that,
names on there.
not only that, like we said it last night on Young Guns, where I was just like, yo, this roster is kind of paper thin everywhere, bro. You were talking about the D-line. If for some godforsaken reason, knock on wood, Leonard Williams, who was dealing with something with his elbow, that man goes out, bro. We got Dexter
no
Lawrence.
depth.
We don't have any depth anywhere, let
Justin
alone at the
Ellis,
defensive
bro.
line.
We have
Jelly?
no depth. That's the
Mr.
defense's
Jelly?
issue. The defense's biggest issue, more so than that not having the best starters in the world, is they just have no depth.
Yeah.
You know, if Adoree Jackson goes down, you're literally going to see the worst secondary you've ever seen as a Giants fan, and we've seen some bad ones.
Yeah, and I'm already
Worse
not a
than
fan of Aaron
Curtis
Robinson,
Riley, bro?
so,
I think so. At least you had Janoris Jenkins on that team playing cornerback.
yeah.
You know,
Dane Belton's gonna
the
be out
safeties will
there.
be better. That's true. So maybe the safeties can make
But
up for
even
it.
then, right? And shout out to Sober Party, what's up, man? Even then, even with I think we got Tony Jefferson on the practice squad. Is our safety group really that much better than last year? Do you really think so?
No, it's worse than last year because they
Yeah.
got rid of Logan Ryan and Jabril Peppers.
Mhm.
But you still got McKinney. McKinney's an awesome player. He's an ascending player. Julian Love is playable. So I mean, it's worse than last year. But I when you look at the position groups on the team, safety's not one of my big worries. I even like the Pinnock kid they got from the Jets, pretty good. I think he's got some talent. Dane Belton, they obviously drafted high, and then Tony Jefferson can play like box safety, Mike or a dime linebacker too. So, so that's the and Julian Love is, while not really good, he's a playable guy who can move all around, do a few things. So the safety position doesn't have me worried. It's the cornerback position that's the issue. I mean, Aaron Robinson's not good. Darnay Holmes is not going to be great in man coverage.
Right.
And Adoree Jackson's good, but that's it. And Adoree Jackson has missed games every single year.
Mm-hmm. And isn't Rodarius Williams injured right now?
IR.
What is our depth
on
at
the
cornerback
IR.
right
We're
now?
gonna bring up Zion Gilbert from the practice squad, and he's gonna get some playing time.
Well, they got those two,
Justin Lane, yeah,
and
but
then Ryan McLeod. I
but
think
I didn't
McLeod
know
would be
he
the
played
guy who's
corner
next in
now.
line after them.
I didn't know Justin Lane played corner now. I mean, I knew he was like a safety coming out of Michigan State a couple years ago. I didn't know that he transitioned to corner with Pittsburgh. That's
third round pick. He really never got to play any
Yeah.
defense. Like he played like 120 defensive snaps over 3 years.
Wow, as a third round pick.
Yeah, he's a big dude too. He's like 6'2", like 33-inch arms. Like, so he fits the Wink Martindale mold, but he just never could get his way on the field.
I'll say this real quick. And my thought left my head, bro. What in the world? I just have a brain fart live on TV, bro. I mean, YouTube, bro. What the hell? Let me get back to the chat. In that case, Max says if Adoree goes down, wide receivers will feast on us. Yeah, that's the general feeling. If not just Adoree, if anybody goes down, like we were all seeing here. You have Raj with a very out there question. He says, "Do you think they cut Martinez because they're gonna trade for Roquan?" Listen, I got pipe dreams as well, bro. Like we all got our pipe dreams. Well, like I said earlier, we're not like in it to win anything this year. Trading for Roquan would be like a winning move, and that too. Yeah, we got no money.
Broke, bro.
We have to clear like $12 million in cap space. That's like almost impossible unless you restructure like Kenny Golladay and Leonard Williams contract and like one other contract.
Yeah.
Is Leonard Williams gone after this year? Yeah.
Yes.
I love
I would
that
say.
name. God
I don't
damn
think
it.
so.
I really.
If they restructure him, if they find a way to restructure him, yes. But like, isn't there like a lot of money you could save next year if you cut him?
Yeah, but it's still a lot. But
Might
he's
be
a player
enticing.
worth keeping though, and
That's what I'm saying.
Space next year.
I love Leonard Williams so much, bro. He's like the only player on this roster that I feel confident in saying is like top 5 of his position. Yeah.
Yeah, and we have cap space next year, so Leonard Williams is one of the guys I'm hoping we keep throughout his deal.
He is one of the names that was mentioned when Joe Shane was like, "Oh, these are players that you can build around." I think Leo was one of those names. So.
Yeah, he was, and you keep him, like he's a good player. He'll hit free agency again. You can either give him a fair deal to keep him, or he's gonna get a big deal somewhere else and come into the comp. Like I'm always thinking about the comp picks with that stuff too. Like it's always better to let guys' contracts expire rather than cut them.
I got a question for you, bro. What do you think about the Giants having 20% of their team as captains?
It's too much,
Way
like,
too much.
At the end of the day, like I think captains are overrated at the NFL level because it's grown adults and stuff.
Yeah.
But 10 captains though? Like damn.
I've never heard of that before.
I've never seen that before.
That has to be a first in history. And KB, you brought it up last night.
6 captains. It's like, come on, coach. Like we don't need this many.
Yeah, KB brought it up last night. When we had 6 with Joe Judge, we thought it was a lot. We got 10 now.
Yeah, I'm more of like a 5 guy. 5 captains. That's it.
We have 3. I was.
Listen, I love Cam Brown. Why is he a special teams captain? Why is Casey Crater a captain, yo?
Well,
like I said,
can I cuss on this show?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was thinking like this is how my head works. I was thinking about Casey, like we're overtime. Giants go to overtime. Casey Kreider at the coin toss. Giants win the coin toss, and Casey Kreider like, boom, we want that motherfucker.
He's not Jabril Pepper.
Jabril Peppers. Yeah, Casey Crater's gonna be that
Nah,
guy.
but for real, if you gonna make any special teams, dude, captain is Graham Gano. That's it. Why do we have 3 special teams captains? What is it? 3 offensive captains and 4 defensive captains?
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's like
what?
3.5 defense and 3.5 special teams because Julian Love got votes on both.
How does that even? I was wondering that too because players vote on the captain. So I'm like, how does as a team y'all vote for 10 people, bro? There's only 53 of y'all.
So there's 10 people in the middle of the huddle.
There's
like
10 people who get votes. You don't get. It would be like, well.
Do you know how it works, Bobby? Can you explain it to me?
The population wrote in,
So you tell me if a player got a single vote,
and Kanye West are the presidents. It's like, no, just give it to who has the most votes. It's that simple.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
So you tell me,
how does the
hold
voting
up.
process even work?
That's what I was gonna ask. So you tell me if you get a single nomination.
I think they just gave it to anyone who got like more than 5 votes or something.
That had to be it, yo.
Everyone's a leader here. You're a leader. You're a leader.
That's what I'm saying. When there's 10 captains, yo, it's like the captain position, like Bobby said, it's already like, yeah, it has some sort of weight to it, but at the end of the day, these are grown men. And now you're like taking away from whatever authority or like leadership quality they got, in my opinion, when there's so many of them. I don't know, man.
That had to kill Blake Martinez. Like, really? It's like
Casey Crater.
That's the biggest one for me. I'm like, we talked about it on the show on Young Guns. We were talking about like, man, all these captains, we have 10 captains, 4 defensive captains, and now Blake Martinez is not one of them. There has to be something up. There's got to be something up. He's not a freaking captain. So yeah.
Let me go ahead and bring on the first caller. It is Manny from the Bacon Tacos podcast. Manny, what is up, my boy? How are you doing?
What's going on, guys?
Oh, what's going on?
Happy to be here. Bobby, we never actually talked in person. I've just been calling.
We did on one of the streams, my brother, Manny. Did you
I
get the
want
shirt,
to-
by the way?
What's up?
Did you get the
Yes,
shirt come in?
yes.
Okay.
Young Joker season in full effect.
Hey,
Cannot wait to
hey.
rock it. Appreciate you, man. Definitely talking Giants versus everybody, including our employers. Happy to be here. Bobby, great talking with you for the first time. Kid Blue, always a pleasure.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
What
Yeah. I'm in New York sports hell right now, because not just with the Giants, but then this whole damn thing, and I know Bobby will love this, the Knicks, dangled that carrot and then took that shit real fast. Cleveland? Where the hell were they in the equation? Just put that in there. But how are you guys doing? How we feeling?
Listen, I feel you real quick on the Knicks thing, but like I got over my anger real quick because I'm like, this is just Danny Ainge being a dickhead, bro. That's what that was, bro. That's all Danny
Blake
Ainge was
Martinez
being, bro.
gave you a shot to get over it.
I like Donovan Mitchell more than most people too. Like I think he's like I think he's the real deal, and I thought the Knicks should go after him.
Yeah.
But I also like they were giving up RJ Barrett, another player, and all those picks. I probably would have
And
been
quickly,
like,
I
no,
think.
too, because
Yeah.
like with the
Yeah, I
Cavs,
love
you make the
Emmanuel.
argument like, hey,
Yeah.
they can like, Mobley's a player. They got Garland, so they have some good players. With the Knicks, it would be like you would just have Donovan Mitchell.
Why would
and
I give
that's
up
it.
RJ Barrett, yo? Like the whole
The only
idea
way-
was to pair
Yeah.
them.
The only way
Very,
if I were
very
the Knicks, I
Carmelo
would do
Anthony.
that if there was a free agent next summer who's like, I want to come play with Donovan Mitchell, and you had a good idea that was going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
but at the same time, I always kind of side on like just you get the stars and figure out the rest later. But I can't hate on the Knicks for not doing that trade either.
Yeah, I mean, very true. And I don't even know if it really was that bad for Cleveland, because I think they only gave up 3 players. Only one of them, Colin Sexton, is the guy of
Colin Sexton,
of
he
any
was
value, I
he was
think.
out of there
Yeah.
anyway. Like we knew he was out of there once
Yeah.
Garland got that All-Star vote.
I
And
mean,
so-
it is what it is. It's all good. Basketball season starts in October, so got some more time to rant about that until then.
Yeah. Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Let's hear your feelings on the Blake.
This is the first. Bobby said it. Member of the Patreon, so I listened to the Patreon. Bobby said it. The honeymoon season is over for me with Joe Shane, and the whole staff in general, especially the whole thing like you guys were saying. If he wasn't a part of the scheme, if he didn't look like a good linebacker for the scheme and for what Wink wants to throw out there, why didn't you just cut him in March? Why didn't you just go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off right away? It was going to be way more cap savings than the 300,000, whatever the hell they ended up saving. I didn't like that move. And there's a few things that they've done. Logan Ryan being cut didn't necessarily wasn't. I was like, I mean, whatever, but didn't agree with it. They could have just kept him and not cost him anything. I was a fan of Chris Owens, and I didn't think it made sense for them to drop a guy who can play half of preseason games and take care of that depth for the preseason, if nothing else. I didn't like at the time who they were drafting in the second and third rounds, but hey, it's still young, so who knows? It didn't make sense to me, the whole Blake Martinez situation. It didn't make sense to cut him when they did. It just seemed like what Bobby had mentioned, that they just played it wrong, and they kind of shot themselves in the foot. It seems like it's the first real mistake that Shane has made.
And it doesn't mean that, it's one of those things where it's not even really like opinion based. Like if they would have saved $2 million if they would have done this then. So it ended up, even if you're saying well hindsight, but it still ended up being the wrong decision. And it doesn't mean like this, like we're gonna look back a few years from now, 3 years from now, and be like, these were some mistakes made by the first regime, because every regime's gonna make mistakes.
I agree. Yeah.
So it's like, does cutting Blake Martinez mean like I don't like this Joe Shane guy anymore? It's like they just had an L on this. It doesn't mean that. And again, like Blake, like the two big things I disagreed with were Blake and Logan Ryan. At the end of the day, those guys aren't part of the long-term future regardless, so it's nothing to like say you lose faith in those guys in for. Really what they get judged by, the main thing they'll get judged for this offseason is how well did they hit on the draft. Like that's really the only thing.
The Bradbury deal, I didn't like that very much. I thought, and I get it, Shane said he doesn't want to push Cap down the road, or kick the can down the road, so to speak. But I thought James Bradbury was at least a good enough player that if you were up against that timeline and couldn't get a trade and you just end up cutting him, why don't you just keep him? You'll feel way better about your secondary if James Bradbury's on it, regardless of maybe he's not the perfect cornerback for this scheme.
Yeah, I would have loved to keep Bradbury because I'm a Giants fan and I know it's going to be brutal to watch the corners this year. I don't hate that. In fact, I like that Joe Shane played hardball and tried to keep it as long as he could, just to try and get some type of draft pick back for him. Hurts that he goes to the Eagles, though.
Do you think he would have known? Do you think he would have done it if he known he was going to the Eagles?
Yeah, I think so.
Shane's a gangster. Okay.
We got a question from the chat here for Bobby. He says, this is from your Raj. He says, I know that you're great at breaking down old linemen. What do you think about the linemen that we got from the Ravens is what the question is.
Tyree
Phillips.
I got it.
Phillips.
Tyree Phillips, yeah. I always get Tyree Phillips and Tyree Cleveland mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they play two different positions. He's sloppy. Like he's got like the body and athleticism to play, but like he had at guard and at tackle, and then he had injury issues. So I view him more as kind of like a project. But at the same time, he's not a project because he's the only guy who's really played tackle as a backup. So if Andrew Thomas or Evan Neal go down, he might be starting at tackle. So hopefully,
what happened to Matt Peart?
He's on IR.
He's on IR, man.
Like, we don't even know if he's gonna.
I was about to
back.
say, is there no type of timeline on what his recovery might be right now?
Well, it has to be at least isn't it by at least week 4?
Yeah, week 5 is the first week that he's able to come back, and that's just like if he's ready.
Right.
So right now he might be their swing tackle. So hopefully he doesn't play this year because he does have some ability, but he's just like, there's feet get too skinny, crossover and pass protection, doesn't punch and allows guys to bull rush and fall steps, and, just like sloppy stuff that can be fixed, but you got to like put some effort and time into fixing it.
I hope Andrew Thomas's ankles are okay.
It's a lot harder to fix those things when it's like, all right, dude, you got to play tackle versus the Ravens in week 5.
Yeah, I think Ash was the one that said it when we were talking about the run game. He's like, we have the Titans with Derrick Henry and the Panthers with CMC back to back. That's going to be tough to watch. Our run defense on the field get basically gouged. Don't draft the Giants in fantasy this year if you're going through that.
Yeah,
that's what I'll say.
Draft the kicker. Draft Graham Gano.
That should be like a fan, like I took last place in my fantasy league, and like forget like whatever these little things people do.
Yeah,
our league doesn't do it, but just like you got to draft the Giants defense the last, in the 10th round.
You gotta keep them. You gotta keep them.
That should be the punishment. It's like in round 8, we get to make your pick for you, and you got to hold them till week
Giants
5.
defense. Oh man, I think we won the division. Oh man,
going from one sad and questionable topic to another. Does anybody know what Kadarius Toney's and Kenny Galladay's true status is going to be? We're about a week and a half away from week 1. I forgot which beat reporter it was that tweeted out. He said he's 100% ready to go. And still nothing much on Kenny. In fact, Bobby, this has been a topic all over Giants Twitter. How do you feel about Kenny Golladay in general right now, man? Go ahead.
I don't hate him like other people do, you know.
Yeah.
So all the people being like, you're being negative about Blake Martinez. Well, you need to stop being negative about Kenny Golladay. He's on a scheme that totally played against his strengths last year. He averaged 53 yards per game with Daniel Jones. You know, it was disappointing, no doubt. But I don't think that he just totally lost his ability to play. Like, he had that drop in the preseason. That's bad. I think he needs to be better at his release. But I'm not on like Kenny Golladay is the worst free agent signing ever. Like I got to see some games before I do that this year.
Yeah.
Because I still think he has something in the tank. You know where, and I can't stand when people say that about him. Even if he is a bad one, it's like, dude, we just went through Nate Solder. We're still paying Nate Solder this year.
I saw that tweet, yo. Somebody said Kenny Golladay was the worst free agent signing ever. I'm like, he's not even the worst at wide receiver. Are we forgetting Brandon Marshall?
Brandon Marshall didn't get paid a lot though. I mean,
bro, he was still a free agent signing, bro.
2-year deal.
Yeah, he was like
Nate
$6
Solder
million a
might
year.
be one of the worst free agent contracts ever. Not even because he sucked in this year. He was never even that good in New England. Like, okay, I want to ask you this. Andrew Thomas led the league in pressures allowed his rookie year, right? You know who had more of that the year that they got signed by the Giants to the highest offensive tackle contract ever?
Man.
Nate Solder did, with Tom Brady as his quarterback. Like, that's insane. And he was just like, he gave up like the most sacks and pressures year 2. His year 1, people were like, wasn't too bad. It's like, yeah, it was. He gave up like 7 sacks. He was just always. And last year he was like this guy doesn't belong on an NFL field at all.
Yeah, it was.
People were making memes of him like sitting at a picnic. It was so bad.
Yeah, he was literally blocking his own lineman.
Ballerina, man. He was a ballerina out there.
Let me get this super chat real quick. Shout out to Tudo. What's up, my man? He says, salute Kush, Gio, Miz, Taj, everybody else. Drop by your office to pay proper respects. And for all Giants fans around the world, slap all those stinky Boyd losers out the door. Tudo, I'm with you on the sentiment, but like those Boyd losers, they're a lock for me, at least. We're getting the East this year, man.
You can still slap somebody in a fight and lose that fight. It's okay.
It's okay.
I'll be upset if Blake Martinez signs with the Eagles. I will really be upset.
They have no need for him.
The Eagles
just to
don't
piss
have
us
needs.
off. That's always
the
a good
Eagles
need
don't
for
have
the
needs
Eagles.
for a
Point,
lot.
Howie
They
Roseman
really
is
didn't need to get James Bradbury. That was overkill as hell, but they did. So
I mean, it does bolster up that secondary a lot more. He's number 2. Although I just optimism here. I have a feeling that, Darius Slay is not getting any younger. And I know he had like a really good year last year, but maybe I'm praying for it more than thinking about it. But I think I'm hoping for a drop off for him. And we already saw James Bradbury. I mean, I think if Kadarius Toney's healthy, you can put him in a blender.
Listen, Kadarius Toney's gonna put their latest trade piece. What's his name? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. We saw that he owns that man.
He
so
worked him in that Saints game. That was fun watching.
Yeah. UF on UF crime. Yep.
Yeah,
Chauncey
he doesn't
Gardner,
have that sideline to
hero.
sideline quickness that Chauncey Gardner.
The two main NFL players from my hometown are Chauncey Gardner from the Saints, and then Marcus May, who got arrested this morning for assault.
What's your
hometown?
What's your hometown, Bobby?
Awesome company.
Brevard.
Oh, Brevard County.
Yeah.
Oh no.
What county? You're near Tampa, right? I keep forgetting.
Yeah, I'm right smack dab. I'm in Davenport, smack dab in the middle of
Okay.
Tampa and Orlando. So
There you go.
close everywhere. And I'm from West Palm too, so Lamar Jackson is.
I was gonna say the only player
Me and
from
Kid
you.
Blue were like in the same section for the Bucks game, I think, and we just like didn't know.
And I didn't know, and then I leave, and then I saw you posted. And I'm
It's like you didn't see me like jumping up and down, the biggest guy in the world, when Andrew Thomas scored a touchdown.
That was about the only
My
happy
happiest moment
I
of
had.
the season was
Yeah.
Andrew Thomas scoring that touchdown.
And then the pick six. I thought we were actually in that game. What was it, like 10-10 at halftime? Oh god.
That's
Bobby,
like every Giants game. It's like somehow we're in it at halftime, and then we just get blown out in the
Pull
second
away.
half.
Yeah.
It's like Patrick Graham's defense works, and it's like they're just begging the offense to score.
Well, not
some points,
last
and
year.
like,
Last year, remember, they gave up the most touchdowns right before the half. That had to be
I
a
never-
There were a few games though
I've
that they were all right. That one, the second Eagles game, it was like 3-3 at the half with Jake
I
Fromm
think we
at
were the
quarterback.
best first quarter defense points. One of the best, like, maybe not at the end of the season, but at some point, like, we were like the best, like, first quarter defense in the NFL. It was.
I've
Crazy.
never left like games before. Like I've never left before it finishes. I'm like I'm gonna stick with it through the end. Right?
Me and you both
In
left the
that-
Washington
right.
game
Listen,
where
the Tampa
the
game was the
QB
first
sneak.
time that
Oh, the
Tampa
last-
game. Because
ooh.
every time the Giants play in Tampa, I go there. That was like 4 years in a row. I felt like, but this game I had to leave. And then while I was leaving, I saw Marjorie Simmons, one of our subscribers, and she called me out. And I was like so embarrassed. Like I'm leaving the game. It's like the middle of the third quarter. So I'm like, oh damn, I got caught leaving the game. But like I mean, I don't regret it. That was a terrible game.
I went down at the end of that game with LPG because everyone else left, and that was the game where the LPG, the he stinks thing, on TV, and I was so mad because I only got like a quarter of my head on. I could have had my TV moment. I didn't get it.
Who did he do it to?
So it was kind of funny, and I realized, like, man, it's got to be annoying to be LPG at times because everyone knows him.
Mm-hmm.
The camera's always on.
That was Daniel Jones' worst game of the year. And there's just this Giants fan behind him, just keeps on yelling at LPG like, Joe, this dude stinks. Like talking about Daniel Jones, get him out. Just would not stop. And I started saying to him, I was like, yeah, I don't know why license plate guy doesn't bench him. I was like, I don't know. Why do you keep? It's like clearly like he doesn't want to talk to you. And so he's just trying to get him to stop. And he does he's just doing that to like try and make the guy happy. And then somehow the camera's caught it.
That's
I feel like the camera
hilarious.
was
yo.
watching LPG
It wasn't
the
even
whole
reacting
time.
to it a play or anything. It was just
reacting to a fan.
yeah, it was reacting to a fan.
That's great.
The camera
Bobby, I have
was
a
pointed at
question.
LPG the whole time.
Bobby, I have a question for you if you don't mind. I put it in the mailbag earlier, but whatever. Perfect
Well,
timing
we're
now.
doing that on yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, but one less mailbag to answer. But obviously, Andrew Thomas, big Andrew Thomas fan. All of us, I think all of us are pissed. You guys are talking about the captains. Yeah, that's excessive. But the fact that Andrew Thomas is the captain, I'll take it. Give me if that means 20 dudes got to be the captain for Andrew Thomas. Whatever, cool. It's excessive, but hey, he's a captain. Good for him. Obviously, he's probably the best player on our team. I know Leonard Williams is there too, but AT's got the higher ceiling at this point, got the better part of his career to look forward to. Do you think a guard, like we were just talking about Kyrie, and then I know you guys mentioned Wyatt Davis on the pod tomorrow, at 7 a.m. Central Time for Texas people. But do you think that a guard playing next to an elite tackle, like is that kind of like masking the guard play and masking the offensive line play as a whole? Like with the centers as well. Like if you have like really two good tackles, which we're hoping we do have.
Yeah, like for example, on something like stunts, like Will Hernandez was not bad at picking up stunts next to Andrew. Even like through Andrew Thomas's struggles that rookie year, like they were good at picking up stunts, except for like one. I think that was really bad. And then he plays next to Nate Solder, and it's like they couldn't pick up a stunt for the life of them. And that's a lot on Will Hernandez, too, just as much as Nate Solder. So that, and when you're double teaming people in the run game, it's like you get a night, like him and Shane Lemieux double teaming people their rookie year was so fun. They used to just bully people. And then last year they're like, well, we can't waste Andrew Thomas on a double team with everyone else sucking. So we'll just let him block his guy. So yeah, I think it does. And you don't have to worry about like a guy getting beat inside and you having to chip over and help. So yeah, it definitely helps.
I mean, honestly, I think we got 3 out of the 5 positions, which usually should be enough. It's more depth at this point. Like we're on God knows number what center. I don't even know who's slated to start.
Feliciano's there. He's starting.
Yeah, Feliciano will start the year.
My guy. Yeah.
Who's
Shout
behind
out Long
Feliciano right now? Who is our backup center?
No one knows because they just
Amazing.
were going to put. At first, it was Shane Lemieux.
All of our depth guys are just interior guys.
They
It
just
would probably
cut
have to be.
Max
It would probably
Garcia.
have to be a call up to Garcia on the.
Ben Bredesen
squad.
if he's healthy. Well, I was
Yeah.
thinking Jack Anderson, the guy they just claimed from the Eagles.
Yeah, he has
He's
some
played
center
some
snaps.
center. And I think if he's going to be a player in the NFL, it will be at center. So
You don't think he's terrible, huh?
I think if he got put in tomorrow, he'd be terrible. But I don't think long term. I think you can work with. I think I'd rather work with him long term than Tyree Phillips.
would you all say at this point you feel better about the depth this year than last year? And I know last year was like probably the worst, but got to compare it to something.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good this year, but I mean,
the
last
only
year,
reason it's
starters
bad
sucked, so the
right
depth
now
was
is
even
because of the
worse.
injuries. That's it.
But it's where's the end? It's just Shane Lemoo's the only starter that's in Azudu, yeah, but he's the only starter that's injured right now. Like Azudu's still questionable, might play week 1.
It's not good depth, but it's better than last year, which is a pretty low bar.
Yeah.
That's sad too.
Yeah.
Our depth is pretty bad, and it's better than last.
Think
year.
about this domino of events, and I think about it a lot. We trade
boy.
for Billy Price.
God, don't remind
We
me.
put him at center on a short week and move Nick Gates to left guard on a short week to Thursday Night Football. And then, do you guys remember how Nick Gates actually broke his leg?
No, I do
Was it
not.
like,
Billy
playing left
Price
guard?
Billy Price
threw
just-
the dude
Oh
through
my
Nick
God.
Gates' leg, like just threw him through his leg. So part of me is like you guys are crying about BJ Hill. I'm crying about Nick Gates because Billy Price just threw a dude like that. Like Nick Gates is still our starting center if we don't ever trade for Billy Price.
So you
Billy
think
Price.
Obviously
Nick
that's
Gates
random and stuff.
Billy
but
Price should be in jail.
No, that's
you think Nick Gates
No,
ever
not
pulled
even
up to Billy
Gettleman.
Price's
It's
house?
It's
all
the
starts with
butterfly
Gettleman.
effect.
You think he ever pulled up to Billy Price's house with a baseball bat, bro? I would.
we
At
need
that
to pull
point.
up to Gettleman's house with scissors and cut his
God.
Achilles.
Bro,
Isn't it crazy that Dave Gettleman,
Hostile
there has
style.
not been one picture of him in the wild since he retired or got
because
fired?
cancer
No.
probably took care of that man already.
Whoa.
Stop.
Golly, Kush, what?
Justin knows
Rain.
people that know him, and supposedly he's been in Greece a lot.
Greece.
Hell yeah.
Man.
He's
Isn't he
got some
Italian?
fucking-
Am I tripping?
Hell yeah. He's
There
over here
hasn't
slap.
There hasn't been a single picture of him in the wild since he
He's
retired.
He's in Greece, throwing
It's been
down
9
plates,
months.
yelling.
Throwing down plates.
Yeah,
for real. I
Opa.
don't blame him.
Listen,
I'm
shit.
out
Hey,
of this
listen.
country.
I see the chat
anything-
right now. Y'all can't boo me. I've seen what makes you cheer. Okay? Go
I'll
ahead.
say this. Hey, for
Was
all
that
his
for the
flaws,
people? Was that for the people, Kush? Was that for the people?
for all of his flaws, he did get Andrew Thomas is on this team because he drafted him.
Yeah.
Xavier McKinney, and we were so terrible that we got 2 of the guys in the draft this past year that we would have never thought was even a possibility.
Yeah, if Dave Gettleman just needs to do the 2020 and 2021 draft every year, and he would have been a good GM and maybe not some of the big money free agents.
He's gonna have a wild 30 for 30 when it comes out.
Literally, if you cut out 2018 and turn that into a good year, and it's a lot different for him. And then the Jason Garrett stuff, fuck things up.
I
a lot.
remember, Bobby, you had said something about the scheme, Jason Garrett's scheme. You said it's not a bad scheme if you have the best offensive line in football, a good to great quarterback play, good to great running backs, good to great wide receivers. You pretty much said the whole team has to be stacked. Depth
Which the
out
Cowboys
ass.
were. And that's why it's like the
Yeah.
Cowboys offense looked good in the regular season, but once the postseason came, every year
Right.
they would, because they had the best O line. They had Zeke, Dak, a good QB, beast
What?
wide receivers.
What?
They the one year, and they actually weren't good until they traded for Amari Cooper that year, after they lost Dez. So
That's true.
that offense has been stacked for like 10 years straight.
Shout out to Hazelnut. Just tuning in, I'm guessing. It says, what the heck happened with the Blake Martinez release? Well, what happened is we released the guy. Nobody's
Don't
sure
know.
particularly why. The
Nobody
biggest
knows.
question
I
right
learned that.
now is why
I learned
at
that
this
live.
point, because as Bobby pointed out several times, if they just cut him back in March, we actually save a couple $1 million. Right now, they're only saving a couple $100,000. It just kind of makes no sense. It's a head scratcher.
When does Joe
They-
Shane talk to the media again?
I don't know.
After the season, he's so smart by doing that.
Yeah, he's not gonna show his face
Before the
again.
Blake Martinez.
Gettleman would have done it the morning of his conference
He's in hiding
with that
right now.
damn fucking sweater vest.
Now
Seriously, we won't
Brian
see him
Dable's gonna
until
get hit with all those questions now.
We won't
Mhm.
see him until Brian Dable's gonna get peppered with it tomorrow. But yeah, unless they make a trade unless they do something or something big happens in season, you don't hear from the GM until the season's over.
Right.
Why is Timon Fox on this team? That I just remembered. Why, like that was a big like.
Bro, because he got
I thought
the
Timon
forced
Fox was
fumble.
going to be the corresponding move. I thought Timon Fox would have been the corresponding move to get Kyrie on the team, whoever his name is, Phillips. So, you guys were at practice. I didn't go to any of the practices. So you guys were at practice. Is Timon Fox would you say he's as good level wise to like Raymond Johnson last year who made the squad?
Yeah, that's a
undrafted?
good comp. That's a good comp as him. Like I like Timon Fox. I don't think he's ever going to be a star or anything, or probably not even a starter. But he had some wins versus Kemba Kwanu. last year. He put up a ton of production at UNC. He's just a little older. I think he's like 24, 25 years old because he redshirted and then did the extra year because they gave him like extra COVID year. But I like Timon Fox. I'd probably rather have him than O'Shane Ximines.
Manny,
basically anybody than O'Shane Ximines.
What do you think the reasoning is if why the Giants kept Fox over Roche? Do you think it was just scheme fit?
I don't want to say Fox over Roche. I want to say O'Shane Ximines over Roche.
Okay.
Quincy Roche has had better pass rush production last year than O'Shane Ximines.
That's another move
for Quincy Roche, and
I don't think that stinks.
O'Shane Ximines. In fact, Quincy Roche not making the team over O'Shane Ximines bothers me way more than the Blake Martinez thing.
I was gonna say, if I'm Quincy
Blake
Roche,
Martinez is just a bigger headline.
I don't know why I came back to the Giants, bro. I would have just left.
Yeah.
After I started games for you, man.
His point of view could be is like, look at all these scrubs, and then the top two are hurt. I might actually freaking place here still.
Yeah, he might get in. He might get in. So.
Surprising that he didn't get any claims though. I would have thought he would have gotten snatched up quick.
Yeah.
Well, we're fifth on the waiver wire.
I wonder what the research is on claims, because there's so much to keep up with in the NFL. Like I could see it like we know who Quincy Roche is, but if you're, unless you're the Raiders who like he had the sack for and the Patrick Graham, and they're keeping Cleveland Farrell, so they have like a really good edge room anyways. And I think they're playing more 4-3 this year. It's like, okay, the Steelers cut him, then the Giants cut him. His stats weren't anything amazing. And so I don't know how much research goes into that. But anyways, O'Shane Ximines is so much worse than him in the run game by far. And then you could say Ximines might have some better pass rush ability, but ability doesn't matter. It's what you produce. And Quincy Roche is better at producing. And he's younger. He's got 3 years left on his deal. O'Shane Ximines is an expiring deal. So that was frustrating. And people are like, well, this is the scheme. Well, if you're telling me this scheme values bad run defenders and pass rush specialists who don't get pass rush production, this scheme is fucked. Like if that's the scheme values, I got some questions.
Yeah, because a lot of people were saying, hey, I saw this on Twitter, like, oh yeah, that Roche probably didn't make the roster over O'Shane because of the scheme fit, and maybe the scheme fit probably values someone that's more versatile. I'm like, how is O'Shane more versatile than a Quincy Roche?
He can't play inside. He's too small. He's bad.
Exactly. And if you're talking like possibly coverage, like if you're talking possibly going out in coverage as a linebacker, that doesn't make any sense either. Because I don't think I've ever seen O'Shane Ximines.
No, he doesn't. He never did it. And that was one reason why he fell out with Patrick and Quincy Roche can drop in the coverage. Like he intercepted Trevor Lawrence in college.
O'Shane's only versatile in his penalties. He'll hold you and then he'll false start too.
So what I think it comes down to is, these guys, they weren't here the last few years or whatever. I really think that Drew Wilkins and Wink Martindale probably just liked O'Shane in the draft in 2019. And they're kind of like, I want to get my hands on this guy. And they probably didn't like Quincy Roche in the draft or something. So which it's a human there's a human element to all of this. We have prior beliefs and stuff. We all deal with this. So again, now
Richie Rich. I just want to say real quick, Richie Rich, I appreciate that, man. He says Broncos fan. I love the show and I appreciate the insight. Well, I appreciate you tuning in and showing your support.
Man. I always love when let's ride.
Are Broncos fans over the Broncos country? Let's ride.
They're probably sick of it, but I will still say it. I don't care.
Listen, Russell Wilson they gave that man a bag. Yeah.
Hell, shout out Sierra.
Oh, he's riding. Yep.
Stop shouting out Sierra, bro. She doesn't know you exist. All right.
She doesn't know you exist.
If anything, she knows I exist. Okay. I've been in her DMs for like 5 years now.
Remember when Jordan Schultz came out with that report? I'm just having fun now. But when Jordan Schultz came out with that report, do you think there's any validity to that Russell Wilson did have the Giants as a team he would have came to?
Well, I don't know. I doubt it. 2 years straight. I know. Yeah. I think it's true because it was for 2 years straight that he was reportedly going to request a trade, and the Giants were part of those for 2 years.
I honestly just think he used this because we're still the biggest market in the world, bro.
Well, yeah, but it still would make sense of why he would choose.
Happy wife, happy life,
Yeah.
So I got
to see what Jordan Schultz is saying about Blake because I know he's tight with Blake. Does Jordan Schultz say anything about Blake? Come on.
Bro, I got my Blake Martinez jersey right there in the background right
God,
now.
sad
Yeah, I
day.
got
You
it.
should
What do I
burn
do
it
with
right
that?
now. Burn it.
Burn it.
Burn it.
Why?
Please.
Light
Yo,
it on fire.
Does jersey assurance, is that still a thing or is it too late? Because I got it like a year ago.
Please burn it. Burn it live
Sell
on
it,
air.
sell
Come
it
on,
to
give the
like
people what they
a
want.
sports shop near you or something like that.
You know what,
That'll probably,
Bobby? I'll give the people what they want if you burn MetLife down.
Do it.
Burn MetLife.
That's it.
Do
You gotta do the small thing first, and then I do the big thing. I can't do the thing that
Yeah, you gotta
I
build
got
up to
you.
it.
I got you.
Simple math.
So I got the next caller
And I'm
on
gonna
real
need your
quick.
guys' help for that.
I got you, bro. Just ask. Let me
I'll
know
bring the ladder
when.
fluid. I'll
Bro.
bring
I'll
the-
slam
the
you in the head with a
C4.
ladder.
I'll bring them.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, this year at FanFest, I was just chilling, and all of a sudden, Bobby hits me in the head with a ladder. I was in concussion protocol for about 2 hours
Concussion.
after.
Damn,
It was
bro.
it
Doing
hurt a
like the
lot.
Hardy
bad. I was
Boy?
trying to I was trying to do well. It was a very light aluminum ladder, and it wasn't even. It was just like one piece of it too.
Yeah.
I was trying to do
Man,
like a
you-
million things, and then I just didn't realize you were behind me, and just bam, hit him in the head with the ladder.
I was
Man.
good though. It didn't even
Culture of
swell up or
violence, right?
anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Took
We came in there, started popping people in the head with ladders, and
Luring
Take a
people into your van with candy.
Yo,
yeah,
shout
it
out
was a good time.
shout out to Nick
That
Gates for
was
pulling
fun.
up,
That
yo.
was
Listen,
great.
I know
That
that
was
if Kid Blue
hilarious.
was there, Nick Gates was gonna leave. So thank you for
Yo,
not being there,
I
Kid
hope
Blue.
he doesn't still hate me. I'm a fan of Nick Gates, okay?
Nah, you
I'm a
can't
fan.
change your
What
opinion now,
happened,
bro.
He turned me. He turned me. He turned me,
No.
okay?
Do you
Uh,
think there's any
I
shot,
love you, Nick. I love you,
any
Nick.
chance we see him this year?
Nah,
Nah,
I
I would say
don't
next
know. I
year,
don't
bro.
think so.
I would say next year.
It's
Manny,
just a
so-
lot to
I mean,
come
he's on a
back from,
they'll
and
have to
then be
extend
like,
him, right?
I don't know what happens.
I
with
think
him,
he's on
to
a
be
2-year
honest.
like this is the second year of that 2-year contract he signed. I think they
think
would have
this
to
is his
extend him if
last-
they wanted.
Let me look. You might be right. I'm not sure.
And they could. I mean, they might as well because they're going to have cap space next year to do those moves. So you can't. I don't think he will ask for no more than like 2-year, $5 million, something like that. You know.
Yeah, so his contract's expiring after this year.
Manny, while Bobby pulls that up, I do got the next caller up. I'm gonna ask you a question while he's pulling up that information. I didn't get to ask you. What do you
Yeah,
think
it's
about
expired.
our starting two linebackers of Daquartavius Crowder
It's
and
Micah
Micah
McFadden.
McFadden?
season.
Oh, I mean, you know me. I was a Darian Beavers fan over
Me too. Yeah.
McFadden, Beavers,
Why? I
McFadden.
just
'cause
don't understand. You
bro,
guys watch
every
the
time I
film?
watch Sauce's tape, I just gravitated to Zero with the hoodie and at times the pads that were too high. I liked him. I thought he played really well, and I thought he had a heart. I thought he played tough, smart, dependable. I thought he just really played good football, especially in that Patriots game. How he was able to get that tackle on the screenplay. How he was able to just play. How he has the versatility. Playing a little bit better in coverage than thought. Playing good in the run game, but can also go after the passer, the quarterback. So I liked him. Obviously, he's not on the team. He'll probably be the starter next year. I'm calling it. He'll be the MLB one next
Not
year.
if Micah McFadden has something to say about that.
Yeah.
What do you mean
I
they're
think-
both going to be starters next year, kid?
Oh yeah,
True.
Tate Crowder's not.
We're going to
probably
cut Tate
get
Crowder
drafted.
for
Yeah, thank God. I used to be a Tate
So,
Crowder
I
guy.
What did you
think-
say?
Yeah,
We're going to cut
honestly,
We're going to cut everybody. and
No, no,
Blake-
I
It
was
was
saying
really-
KB.
it
He
was-
said thank God.
it was
I don't
Stop the
like
very.
disrespect.
Tate Crowder like that. I really think he's the most replaceable guy on his team. But
Bobby Skinner had a really good saying before. Like Tate Crowder's really, really good when he has that true Mike linebacker, that true, Blake Martinez role next to him, so he doesn't have to take all the brunt of playing that role as well. I mean, he's looked a little bit better in times during training camp from what you've seen in preseason and practices and whatnot. But yeah, I'm not really excited about it. Definitely have no thought about Austin Cilantro. Nothing to say about him. I really honestly, I'm hoping that, Kayvon and Aziz get healthy quick. I'm hoping that Leonard Williams and that arm brace takes that next step. I'm hoping Dexter Lawrence, he takes that next step since he's in a better role as a D tackle, interior, inside as nose tackle. I'm hoping Xavier. I guess there's a lot of hope, but I just have no faith in the linebacker, especially last year because Tate Crowder just.
It's
didn't
funny.
look
I was like,
comfortable.
I'm intrigued to see what Tate Crowder looks like when he's not the number one linebacker, and gets back to the role he had his rookie year. And it's like, nope, sorry, buddy, you're not intrigued about that. We're cutting Blake Martinez for nothing.
At least he won't have the green dot. At least that won't be on his.
Yeah,
plate.
that
He'll
should
just
help
be
him
able
a
to
little
play.
bit, but it's
So
Hey, at least there's one less edge rusher that Olan has to deal with against
Yeah.
Tennessee.
Manny, let me get you.
Hell,
I'm gonna pop on the next caller now, my man. Thank you so much for calling. And I just peeped that you have the Marauders
Thank you,
map
guys.
to your right. I didn't even notice that until now. That's what's up. Any last
Shout
thoughts,
out
my boy?
Hogwarts. Shout out Hogwarts. Shout out you guys. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Happy Labor Day, guys.
Check out the Breaking Tax podcast. Yeah, and have a great Labor Day weekend, my man.
Oh, wait, real quick. Can I just ask one thing before? Bobby, why do you hate my man Antonio Reyes? Why'd you call him out on the pod like that?
Because that was
hilarious.
That tweet was hilarious.
What did he say?
Honestly, I'm very high on
some.
Julian Love towards him, so maybe that had. But yeah,
Maybe he was tweeting at you, so you got to ask him why he's calling out you. But I was just like, what he said? What was it? Was Julian Love? I think
Julian Love needs to show me something. Everyone's talking about
what has
him.
Julian Love done? And everyone's calling him great. I was like, who in God's green earth has called Julian Love great? I was like, and he's played 2 series in the preseason. What did you expect? Like a pick 6 or something? Like Julian Love's average. We just don't we got to start him over.
We overvalue,
And he tweets some crazy stuff a lot. Like I remember trying to think of something else.
Yeah.
Well, one that Jake Fromm over Daniel. He might have been joking about that, but I hope he was.
I mean, I feel like
okay. So here was another
grasping
time I
straws
interacted
back
with
then.
him in the Saints game. Remember Daniel Jones? Saquon Barkley fell down, but he got back up. Daniel Jones threw the ball to Saquon. Saquon turns and fumbles. And
Kyle Rudolph. The only
he
good
was
thing
like,
he
he
did
shouldn't
that
have thrown that. I was like, it was completed, and it was like it was crunch time. You got to make throws like that. He's like, nope, shouldn't. He should have like he should have known he was gonna fumble. So
right.
But I said on it, I see he does film stuff. So sometimes I can't tell if he's trolling or not.
I'll say this: he's helped me a lot in watching film. He's helped me a lot at what look at what to look for football wise, because I'm not obviously anywhere close to X's and O's, like you guys are. If nothing else, it's just for fun to be able to get on there and talk, just like today was to get on with you guys. I appreciate you guys again for letting me come on.
No problem, man. Have a good one, and let me get next person. It's Nate, big friend of the channel. What's up, man? How you doing? Is that your dorm?
Nate.
Is that a dorm?
We got 3 Florida
this
people on this.
yeah.
Hub, get out of
Yeah,
here. This is
sir.
a
I
Florida
know,
talk
right?
show.
Y'all got it, bro. Y'all got it.
We
now,
run
bro.
this. We run this. And Nate, welcome to the Florida gang, my friend.
Thank you. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you. No, Kush, keep it there. All right, let's go.
This man's from Connecticut. Connecticut.
Good to represent the new
He's with
state.
us now.
This
He's
is
with
the
us now.
only.
And he
this is
wants
the-
to be with us, so that we will take anybody. Okay, nobody wants to be, associated with Florida. So
Are we all going to the Jags game?
I would like to actually. That'd be good.
To. Hey, if you're going,
I'll figure something
I'm
out.
going.
I'll figure
All
something
right.
out
I'll go.
for sure.
Get some quick nosebleeds real quick and go. Maybe I'll get a pool ticket.
Go harass Evan Ingram. It's gonna be a great.
yo,
time.
is
Oh, bro, that sounds awesome.
why is it that the Jaguars, out of all teams, have a pool that you could sit in and watch the game?
It's
yo?
hot
That's
as
gotta
hell
be
in
the
Jacksonville.
Florida.
It's hot
That
as hell.
stadium is the worst stadium and might be the worst stadium in the NFL besides maybe. I've never been.
I've
to
never been
Washington.
there.
FedEx
Never been
Field,
there.
yeah.
It's
Come on.
so bad. It's more so when it's hot. Like I went there one game, and like the concourse and stuff, or like concessions or stuff. Like most places are very big and open, like there's space. There, the roof is like this. It's like a box. It's the hottest environment, maybe in the NFL.
Tampa Stadium, I enjoy a lot. I like.
Yeah,
Tampa Stadium.
that's
Tampa's
a good
cool.
stadium.
It's
It's
fun.
awesome. I enjoy. I go there every time the Giants play, and I like it a lot. We
Yeah.
lose most of the time, but
Yeah, I mean,
Nate.
Tampa's about 3 hours from where I am now. So
Yeah, same with. I'm like 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I'm like
the same.
hour. If you're going like extremely fast on on I-4, like in 45
I'm
minutes.
smack in the middle of Boca. So
In the middle of
Boca's
Boca. Oh,
nice.
so you are.
Are you at FAU?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know where I'm at? You know where I'm at?
Yeah, I visited FAU a couple times.
Yo,
Yeah.
he could
Oh,
do
nice.
some
I
love-
scouting for us. I'm telling you, he's gonna give us the
Howard
laydown.
Schellenberger was
He's
there.
gonna go to all the Gators games and tell us what's up with Anthony Richardson too, bro. He's gonna give us the FAU laydown.
I was thinking
bro.
about going to a Gators game too with my friends.
I'm going to have to get to one at some point.
Yeah.
Because Anthony Richardson, listen, he has almost no usable tape at this point, but the eye test alone, it's a wild thing to say, but he looks like Cam Newton to me in the way he runs, in the way he throws.
Yeah.
I see Cam Newton in him. Same body type, same running style, same power, same I'm not going to step out of bounds for shit type attitude. I like Anthony Richardson's tape so far. It's just going to be interesting to see if he can translate it.
Yeah, the thing I liked about him the most, you hear that stuff and it's like, okay, I've seen a lot of big athletic guys who can make all the throws and they just don't know how to play quarterback. And I watched him. I was like, oh, this guy actually goes through his progressions.
Right,
I was shocked by that. So now he's got a million other things he's got to clean up, especially when he's under pressure. But I'm excited to watch him versus Utah.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a good game.
Yeah.
I
And it
got-
looks like he cleaned up his throwing motion too in the offseason. It
Yeah.
looks like
Yeah,
he's been
so-
working on it.
How
I'm
far is
excited to see what he
how
does.
far is Gainesville from you, Nate? Because I know
It's
Gainesville's all the
a
way up
decent
north.
drive.
Yeah,
it's a
up north.
decent drive. I'm gonna have to make it up at some point though.
So I got a question from the chat here that's been in here for a minute from Richie Rich. He says, "What would the Giants' offensive identity be this season?"
Run the ball.
Run the
Right,
ball,
that's
play
that's
action
what I was
RPOs.
saying. It's a
Yep.
little bit opposite of what Brian Dable's offense kind of looks like because they don't really like to run the ball. But I feel like the identity of this team might be to run the ball. Even though
Yeah.
Joe Shane was asked about 7 wide receivers on the roster, and Joe Shane was like offensive minded head coach. I get that, but we probably best bet is to run the ball.
They're gonna
I
run
think
a ton
for
of
us-
RPOs this year too.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah,
Our
we've seen a
best
lot of that.
bet in terms of our offense is going to be using whatever weapons we have to make things as easy as possible because it doesn't look good right now in terms of getting in the system early. It doesn't look good with some of the players we're trying to integrate into that mesh kind of flow that we want to get in because when you watch Josh Allen in Buffalo, everything's just clicking. It's a well-oiled machine, and we do not see that with us, obviously. So I think it's going to be trying to set up quick hitters, trying to set up easy plays, design touches for our playmakers, get the ball in Kadarius Toney's hands, in Wan'Dale Robinson's hands, try and design those things for Daniel Jones to make sure he's not working too hard. But in general, I think Saquon Barkley is going to be the main focal point of this offense. It's going to be zeros to him. It's going to be anything we can do with him in the RPO game, anything we
Yeah.
can do with him getting in the ball outside
Get
in
him
space.
involved. Get him involved. Yeah.
Because, I mean, listen, I have liked Daniel Jones about as much as anyone has. I've been a big Daniel Jones fan. I think that in opportunities when he's been given a fair shake, he's looked promising. But at this point, it's sink or swim, and it looks a lot more like sink than swim at the moment. So
Yeah.
our offensive identity, so to speak, is probably just going to be whatever we can make it.
Yep.
I think it's
Great answer. Oh,
I
go
think
ahead.
it's gonna be pretty like it's not gonna be. I'm trying to think, like Jason Garrett, we knew the identity of that offense. I think they're gonna
Curls.
throw a lot of different things, whether it's like the the half field high to low reads,
Yeah.
putting the check down the middle field. But I do think if there's one thing that's gonna be like super noticeable that like even the average eye can view, it's just like they're pretty RPO heavy because they were RPO heavy in the preseason. Josh
Yeah.
Allen had the most RPO throws last year, and then obviously I think Mahomes was fourth. So I think they're gonna hit a ton of RPOs.
The thing that concerns me when we're comparing Buffalo to us in terms of the where they've been and where they're going, I think the concern is really going to be how much faith do these coaches have in Daniel Jones' ability to translate that? Because a lot of people look at it and they misunderstand, which you'll look at that and say, people will say, oh, well, he doesn't have Josh Allen's arm, he doesn't have all this natural talent, whatever, and that's not really what it is. It's more, do they have confidence in his ability to read the safeties, make the right call, understand what's going on post-snap, and know, does he have the spear? Does he have the deep crossing routes that Brian Dable loves to throw? Does he have the underneath check down that he needs to hit and get to move the sticks? I think the question is going to be how much faith do these guys have in Daniel Jones and how much of that is he going to pay off for him?
How much faith do
Yeah.
you have?
As much as he'll show me. At this point, it's not a whole lot, honestly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be improvement this year, but it's like it's year 4, so improvement doesn't mean you're gonna get a second contract. It's for him, like because he's not Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen does a lot of creating in the pocket, a lot of creating.
Oh yeah, for
And
sure.
there's times where even where it's like you should have pulled the trigger on this, but it's like nope. But he just ran for 25 yards and he pitched the ball to Dawson Knox 10 yards down the field. Like you watch him. Like I was even just watching Jason Pinnock yesterday, and I'm like, Josh Allen, what? How did you do this? But Allen, as great as he is, still does have flaws where he'll miss the timing on stuff, or there's times where he has some wild misses of guys that are open, but he makes up for it because he has all the other amazing plays. With Jones, I think his strength is just overall accuracy. Whether that's the deep ball, like you don't see Jones just miss throws very often. It's very rare. So it's about getting the timing right, and then not being in like 2019 where you stood in there and you tried to push that ball downfield as much as possible, and not being in the last 2 years where it's pick a side, read one player, take the quick throw, but being smart enough to know like this is the play where no matter what the pressure is, you got to hang in there and throw that ball to the 20-yard dig, even though you might take a hit, and then like, hey, this is not going to open up. You got to get to the check down quicker. So it's really between the ears stuff because, he's not going to do the same creating that Josh Allen did. So it's can you make up for that with your overall accuracy and knowing when to hang in there and hit those deep passes or when to hey, let's get to the check down quick here.
A lot of it's also, people don't seem to understand, Daniel Jones has not shown an ounce of chemistry with any receiver except to a certain extent Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard when he's on the field. Darius Slayton looks terrible, and Sterling Shepard's
Davis
never on
Webb
the field.
as well, bro. All right, the tactician.
Someone said to me, and it's been stuck in my head, is that Daniel Jones only knows how to throw to bad receivers, and it's been stuck in my head because it's kind of
it might be true.
Not a bad
DJ
take,
40-yard catch. But
it's not a terrible way of putting it, actually.
Oh man,
Which is it's like a strength and a weakness. So, but that's also one thing I'm glad you brought that up. Tyke Tolbert didn't do back shoulders. They gonna run back shoulders can be his best friend too. Like you got Kenny Golladay, throw back shoulders to the cat.
Especially if he could perfect it.
Yeah, and we know he's got the touch and action. The only thing you don't want to run is please don't run end zone fades. Daniel Jones cannot throw an end zone.
He has
fade.
no idea what he's
It's
doing
insane. It's for a guy who's as smart and as accurate as him. He just cannot throw an end zone fade. But
he doesn't understand the timing of it somehow, which is wild to me.
I think he's just always just tries to throw it perfect. And I kind of get the mindset a little bit, but it's like end zone fades sometimes you're just kind of throwing it up and just being like, my guy's better at boxing out and getting the ball.
Right. It's meant to be a receiver adjust to the throw.
Like Kirk Cousins was good at it with Kyle Rudolph. Like he would just basically just throw it up. So is Kirk Cousins doing anything special? No, it's Rudolph making the play.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just something in Daniel Jones' mind. It's like, why would I throw a bad throw when I can try and throw the perfect throw?
Kyle Rudolph, by the way, is going to be a fantastic Giants trivia question in a couple of years. He is going to be
one of my most
absolutely
hated Giants
fantastic
players.
Most hated Giants players.
Why? Why Kyle Rudolph?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Contract, bro.
With the contract, it never made sense to sign him and then just keep Evan Ingram on an expiring deal.
No, sure, but I'm just saying, why the player? Or was it the signing you hated, not the player?
It wasn't good.
Well, something that bothered me is, one, I think he's a panderer. I don't like players that pander. But the Kadarius Toney fight, he started that. His whole team runs to it.
You're right.
He looks back and doesn't even just goes and just keeps walking away. It was like the fat lady from the Rams game that threw the drink and then turned around and watched everyone else beat the shit out of each other.
Fair enough.
So that was
Good
just
answer.
that was what that being compared with you suck at football is enough for me to I'm just not gonna like you, Kyle Rudolph.
Fair enough.
I was gonna say, getting back to the offensive identity, we did run the ball fairly successfully in the preseason there, Mr. Richie Rich. Also, what do you guys think Saquon can do this year, man? Should he stay healthy, or what are we gonna see from him? Is he gonna be involved heavily in the passing game, you think, or do you think that's gonna be reserved for guys like Toney and Robinson?
Saquon is one of those guys where my take on him, this is rare, this doesn't happen very often. My take on Saquon Barkley is completely tied to my opinion of him in fantasy, and that is to say, I'm ready to be hurt again. I'm ready for Saquon to crush my dreams again. I'm ready to believe.
Well, it's pretty much the whole Giants thing. Yeah,
I'm ready to go into the season and expect big things from Saquon and be not even slightly surprised when he's injured by week 6, averaging 2.7 a carry and not getting the targets that he's supposed to get. I'm ready to be hurt again. Okay, I'm ready for it this time.
That's literally a Giants fans. So just being a Giants fan is I'm ready. I think he's gonna
ball this year.
No, he should. He absolutely should.
It's the injuries to me. It's the injuries.
Yeah, that's the only thing that worries me is another freak injury. But he's behind the best run blocking offensive line he's ever played behind.
Not an exaggeration either.
Which helps him. His biggest issue is I don't care what he says in a press conference. He does dance.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But guess
what? To play Barry Sanders ball.
Guess what makes you dance a lot more? When
that offensive line.
Well, yeah. So with a better offensive line, it just makes it easier for you to not do that and let your plays make your plays. And he's gonna be involved in the receiving game. I think we're gonna get a big year out of him. And in 2 of the 3 years where he's actually played, he's been awesome. He was 6th in the NFL. People act like 2019 was some down year. He was 6th in the NFL.
He had 1,000 yards rushing.
And yards per game.
And I think with Saquon, we might see, and someone y'all probably know is Authentic, who's in the Giants space to a certain extent, and he's been clamoring for this for years. And I fully expect it to happen is him to be more used like Alvin Kamara this year. I think he's going to be very, very heavy in the receiving game. And in terms of rushing, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to look. A lot of us want to see the Giants run the ball more this year. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. Probably going to depend a lot on Daniel Jones and the passing offense. But with Saquon, I think the big emphasis is just going to be to get him touches. Whether that's running it between the tackles, whether it's any sort of zone gap run scheme, whatever we decide works with this offensive line, and whether that's getting him in screen games, angles, whatever route you want to one-on-one him with a linebacker on. Anything that you can isolate Saquon and get him the ball. That's going to be sort of what we're trying to do with him this year. And it should lead to some big numbers, some good volume. It should lead to Saquon Barkley breaking off some nice plays. The thing I'm worried about is at what point has the cement dried? At what point has Saquon Barkley missed his window to become that dude in the NFL? I don't think it has yet. I really don't. And I'm excited to see him play this year. But it is a concern we have to at least think about because it's a very real problem with players that have an issue. Like, for example, Bobby brings up the dancing in the backfield. I call it Barry Sanders syndrome. When you look at a player doing that behind an offensive line, and by the way, people don't understand, it's not an exaggeration when we say this is the best run-blocking line he's had. He hasn't had a good run-blocking line on the Giants. He didn't have it at Penn State. He didn't even have it in high school. Saquon Barkley has never had a good run-blocking offensive line. So one of the things that concerns me is just how deeply ingrained is that dancing, that backfield activity that he loves to get into.
And that press conference last week made me like, he's like people who never play the game, they don't know what they're talking about.
But it's like, you're doing it. It's right there on tape.
I know, but he views if an offensive lineman gets beat initially, that is like, no, you got to go make a play instead of being like, let's just salvage this and not make a 3-yard loss.
And the other thing is,
it is ingrained in his head.
At what point do we just think that the coaching can't save it? Because when you look at running back coaches, a lot of the drills they run, hit the hole, make a quick decision, pull the trigger. That's what it's got to be for a lot of running back coaches. But at what point is Saquon too far gone for that? At what point is Saquon Barkley a 3-yard loss or a 90-yard gain kind of player, and that's just what it is?
I don't think this coaching staff is the one to get it out of it because they seem kind of. I don't know if they know how to. I feel like they might like brush the big egos a little too much, but anyways.
I'm not sure how invested they are.
So good that though with a good offensive line, like there'll still be some of the bad Saquon Barkley plays, no doubt. Like, but he can also do special stuff that no one else can do and break those.
Sure.
So if the offensive line's better in front of him, like there's no reason for him to not be like a 4.8 yard per carry back this year, or 5 yards per carry like he did his rookie year. But it's always going to be an issue. But that's why you never want to have, like, that's why the Giants shouldn't give him some like crazy contract. Like,
that was going to be my next question. Do you see him even re-signing here next year?
Well, that's what I was going to lead into, which is I don't know how invested the coaching staff is in him even. Like, the front office clearly is like Saquon Barkley is a little bit different than the guys we've been seeing get brushed out the door, but at the same time, he's not a Shane guy. He's not a Dable guy. I think it's going to depend on how well he does this year and how well they can integrate him into the system. I would say that it's more likely than not that he sticks around, but it's definitely not impossible that we say goodbye to Saquon after this year.
He is Like, he is the face of the franchise. Like, no matter if you don't want to ignore it, people call him a mascot. I hate when people say that. I really do.
That's clown activities right there.
Yeah, I hate that shit. I think it's so disrespectful.
Yeah.
Forget just as a player, as a person. So,
yes, as a person. But he is face. If the ball's out this year, and I were Joe Shane and stuff like that, I would offer him a reasonable deal, nothing close to what McCaffrey or Kamara or whoever got. I would offer him a reasonable deal, and like, you either take this or you hit the market. We will not franchise tag you. You can stay. You can take this. Stay with the New York Giants. Stay with this franchise. This is a good contract. I don't know what that number means, whether it's $7 million or $8 million a year. I don't know. I'd have to look at every other running back contract and be like, we're not going to franchise tag you. So it's either you take this or you go see what you get in the open market. That would be my approach if I were Joe Shane. But because
KB,
I'm not going to cry if we lose him either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you do when it comes if Saquon gives us a really good year this year, contract wise?
Man, that one's pretty hard. Like, it's not like one of those things where it's like cut and dry, kind of with Daniel Jones. Like even if he has a good year, it's probably inevitable that we'll probably move on from Jones.
Is that you typing, Nate?
Yeah, sorry,
he's the fastest typer in the world, dude. That dude is the fastest typer in the world.
Are you looking up top running back contracts? Because I am.
I was actually about to after I typed something in chat real quick.
Yeah,
Oh, shout out to Authentic in the chat. Yeah.
When it comes to Saquon, it's not really cut and dry to me. Like I don't know. I would have to see what he does. Not just from like a statistical standpoint. I want to see like how he contributes to the offense, because it's like the running back position is different from quarterback position. Whereas like you can really go anywhere with running back. You don't have to re-sign your running back and still have a good running game the next year. Like you can go out and draft one pretty much anywhere. It's much easier to find a running back than a quarterback is what I'm trying to say.
And before we get into the contract stuff, because I know that's where you're going, Bobby, I just want to address what KB just said. I do take issue with this narrative to a certain extent. I think when you look at the running back isn't the most important part of a running game argument, there's definitely merit to the idea that it's much more offensive line than running back, and some of that speaks to scheme, some of it speaks to situation and play calling, but as a general sense, there's definitely merit to the idea that offensive line is more important than running back in terms of the actual efficiency of the running game. But at the same time, I think when we're looking at Saquon, what we're talking about here is one of the 5-ish guys in the NFL at any given moment who can go outside that system and who can be the sort of talent at the position that outweighs positional value. And that's a thing that happens.
And I agree with that 100%. And I hate when people just are so cut and dry about running back. It's frustrating.
Right.
Like I agree with the positional value stuff, but people are too cut and dry. The last Giants, Saquon Barkley's averaged 5 yards per carry, 4.6, and then last year 3.7. Brutal. The last guy to average even 4.5 yards per carry for the Giants was in 2012. Bradshaw and Wilson, David Wilson and Derek Ward. So we went 6 years where not even a guy could even average 4.5, and then Saquon did all that stuff behind horrible offensive line. So acting like when people say running back doesn't matter, I don't care what it actually means. No, when you put a phrase like that, it's stupid. Running back does matter, not as much as other things, but it does matter. And there's things Saquon can do and other players can do that a lot of running backs can't.
Right.
Fully agree. And Kush, it was good to see you. It was good to talk to you guys, but I do have to hop out. I was just gonna talk to you guys for a few minutes here. Good to see you guys. Have a good one.
Good luck in college, man.
Nate.
I was looking at the contracts right now. So like average per year, McCaffrey 16, Zeke 15, Kamara 15, and then you get Cook, Henry, and Chubb are at like 12 mil a year. Joe Mixon 12, Aaron Jones 12. The next one after that is actually Saquon at 7.5 right now. I don't know. I would 9 or something like that.
Right.
Something reasonable.
So you wouldn't give him 12 then? You just read up a whole bunch of running backs at 12.
No, he gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't pretend that he doesn't get hurt either. And I'm not gonna act like he's not gonna get hurt more. So it would have to be a very reasonable deal. And you'd in a sense be like, you gotta take a hometown discount.
And that's
reasonable money wise. What about length wise? How many years?
3 years,
3?
I guess. Something like that. Again, he's a running back. He's gotten hurt a bunch. But what the cap situation the Giants will be in, I feel more comfortable. If we were a team that wasn't going to be like in great cap situation next year, then I might not even consider it at all. With Saquon.
And that's why it's hard with the running back position, because Saquon definitely has talent. And I mean, people always combat me when I say this, but he has like top 5 talent. And at the running back position, if he just stays healthy, he really does. And besides the whole dancing thing, but that's why it's hard. You can have that conversation whether you want to re-sign him or not because of the situation that the Giants are in right now. I know we have decent amount of cap next year, but we'll see what happens. I have to see what happens at the end of this year to really say to re-sign Saquon. I would love for him to stay, and I love the running back position. Everybody knows that it's in my freaking username. So I mean, I would love for Saquon to stay. I just don't know if it's in the cards.
And shout out to Richie Rich as he appears here. First time caller. What up, man?
What's up,
How
man?
you doing, bro? Also, final caller for tonight, guys. What's up, Rich?
Hey, I really like the show. I came across it recently, and I was able to finally catch you guys live. Really, really good show. Love the way you guys chat and the details you guys provide.
Hey, I appreciate that, my man. Thank you so much.
Man.
I saw you in the chat. I saw you in the chat say you hate it, but I'm like so tempted to do a Broncos Let's Ride, even though I know you said you hate it.
Look, he's cringing already. He's sick of it.
Yeah,
are you in the Denver area, Richie? Yeah, but are you in? Oh, yeah. So you're in. Oh, so you're in Canada.
Toronto.
Oh, nice. Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. Because I was about to ask, like, I'm sure, like, in Denver right now, they're just all saying that, and it all died out really quickly, and nobody wants to say "let's ride" anymore.
Every day going to work, like, let's go, guys. Let's
Exactly. Let's
I-
ride. Every boss in Denver, let's ride.
I've heard from folks that I interact with theirs. I actually am on a podcast as well myself.
I can tell the mic right away.
Yeah,
I
nice
saw.
mic and
Yeah.
nice
Nice
audio,
mic.
man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, this is it here. It's AFC West Roundtable show,
Cool.
and
Okay.
Where can we find it? Let us know.
So we're reaching out, and we're going to be trying to have fans of other teams come on to kind of give their takes on their teams for our show as well, because we all play you
Nice.
guys, right?
Yeah.
And I remember playing the Giants last year. It started off a much tougher game than I think a lot of people were expecting, because I think people
Yeah.
were led to believe that it was going to just be like an easy thing, um, which is actually where I've been asking some of the questions, which is, you guys are making some changes. Where do you think those changes are going to land, and how quickly do you think that they're going to start swapping guys in and out to kind of better fit the schemes and the changes you guys are going to make?
Well, we're already doing it in terms of the how quickly. I would say immediately.
Really quick,
I
especially
guess.
the offensive line. I mean, we're in a tough situation because of cap. I feel like if we had a lot more cap space, things would be changed a lot faster. But we're in a tight space right now from the previous regime. But as far as like a good example is the offensive line, they like took attention to that immediately. Like the offensive line has been an issue for the Giants for
10
I
years.
don't know 10 years now.
Yeah.
As soon as Joe Shane came, here as the Giants GM, immediately started making changes for what he was able to work with as far as cap space goes, and especially he addressed it in the draft. He drafted 3 offensive linemen, and we're bringing in guys undrafted and stuff like that, and working guys out. So I mean, I think the changes are immediate. Is just a matter of the resources that they have to make all the changes they want to right now.
That was the Bills model too.
Yeah,
lot
and
of
I think
people-
we're doing a lot of things that they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of people aren't necessarily giving the Bills credit for what they did before they got Josh Allen, and the Bills spent like 2 full seasons effectively revamping their D line and their O line, and then they got Josh Allen.
Yeah,
I was gonna
and-
say,
yeah.
go ahead.
and
go ahead,
they gave
Bobby.
Allen some pitch. So I think they know that they're gonna get a QB most likely next year. You know,
That's
they may not
exactly
know
what I
which
was
one.
gonna say.
Like-
Yeah.
like
They're
they can
preparing
say all
for
the-
it.
They can
Yep.
say all the nice things they want, but I think if you hear the whispers around the Giants, it's like they're ready to do it. And if Daniel Jones proves them wrong, they're all for it. But I think they're trying to set the groundwork to take that quarterback.
Exactly. I was literally gonna lead right into that. I wasn't sure if it was directly connected. I guess I could now say it is. But yeah, I mean, like, we're using the, I guess you could call it Bills formula, the way they rebuilt their O-line and the way they kind of retooled their roster. It's funny, this Blake Martinez cut today reminds me of something when I spoke to a Bills fans way back in like February, March, when or whatever the time was we hired Joe Shane. And he told me there's gonna be some cuts, not now, but down the line, that is gonna make you question what in the world is happening. And then he said, because that's what happened when Brandon Bean got here. But just let the flow happen, man. Just give it time. And today that popped back in my mind because I was like, what's up with this Blake Martinez cut? Of course, not even get back into that. That was like the beginning of the podcast. But nah, man, I think we're completely preparing for another quarterback. I think I don't even know. It's not a secret, man. Just like Bobby said,
Yeah.
you could say all the niceties you want to. It's no secret that we brought in 2 guys, Dable and Kafka, that had a hand in 2 of the best quarterbacks right now in the league, Mahomes and
Developing
Allen.
both of them.
And
right.
like, a lot of people they say that they could be great when it comes to developing a young quarterback. So
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was looking at some of the roster guys. You guys are mentioning Saquon, for example, and I actually agree with the gentleman that left, that he's probably going to get hurt like week 7, 6, somewhere in that range there. The one thing I am surprised that you guys haven't done is bring in someone who's similar to him.
We have at our backup right now is Matt Breida, which, by the way, did we even see Matt Breida since he signed? Am I
Yeah,
tripping?
he
He
played
got-
in the last game.
Okay.
He got a few carries. He's
Yeah,
fast.
yeah.
Like, I think
Fast as
people have
hell,
forgot
yeah.
because they haven't seen him. It's like Matt Breida's worst season was with the Dolphins, who were like one of the worst run teams in the NFL that year, and he averaged like 4.3 yards per carry. Like he's always produced when he's gotten the chance. He's just never gotten a ton of volume. So like I think he is a good backup.
And behind him, we have Antonio Williams from the Bills.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to answer your question, Rich, I don't think it's easy to find a guy like Saquon to answer your question, with his skill set. But we do have a couple of fast running backs behind him. And let me get this member chat. Shout out to Nikki. Y'all. I remember my very first member for 2 years now, 25 months. I really do appreciate it, Nikki. How you doing? It says, how much are you willing to pay DJ if he balls out? I'm going to keep it like a stack with you. For me to even consider paying DJ, this man has to because we're going to have a really bad defense. This man has to lead an offense that's averaging 35 points a game. He has to lead us to at least 9 wins. We got to be in the playoff. I know the bar I'm setting is really high.
It's high for a reason.
Yeah, I'm not about to re-sign a guy that hasn't proven himself yet, and it's not his fault. And I really don't want to get into almost every podcast I do for the past 2 years, we get into the DJ conversation. I don't want to get into it too much, but there's a reason I'm setting the bar so high, and even then, I'm still hesitant on giving him a lengthy contract because he's inconsistent. I don't know if he's gonna do it again. And just like Saquon, DJ's consistently hurt around week 10, bro. This man is knocked out around week 10 for some reason. 9, 10, 11, 12, whatever the case may be. He's always out around that latter third of the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's even then, it's if he balls out, I would give him a franchise tag before I give him that. And even then, I'm considering do I want to give him the franchise tag? Because that's a lot of money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because when it comes to Daniel Jones, you really have to we're setting the bar high because you have to really make up 3 years of I don't want to say lack of production, even though it is lack of production, but 3 years of just being unsure of Daniel Jones, and he has to make us sure of him in 1 year. It's really hard to do. And on top of that, franchise tagging him not necessarily won't keep us from drafting a quarterback next year, but it definitely, you franchise tag Daniel Jones, he's probably going to be the starter next year, even if you draft the quarterback high. I don't really see a situation where you're fully guaranteeing someone's contract with a franchise tag and not playing him. So you would have to start Daniel Jones next season, or if he gets hurt or whatever the case, even if you draft the quarterback, it's really hard to do. Daniel Jones has to do a lot in this season alone just to even be given a chance for next year with the Giants. Honestly, the best bet for him is to want to move somewhere else to get a fresh start. I think the best bet for him is to get a fresh start somewhere else. But that's just where it is with Daniel Jones. I don't even going 35 and 10, 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. I don't even think is enough to really get him an extended deal over here, to be honest. Even though I like Daniel Jones, I was a big Daniel Jones guy and defender, but yeah.
What do you say, Bobby?
Yeah.
What specifically?
So, well, the initial question was how much are you willing to pay DJ if he balls out? But then I guess I got into it with I'm so just fed up with the whole situation that I probably won't even give him the thing.
I think you could give him a 1-year cheap deal, being depending on. So if he balls out, like everyone around the league is Daniel Jones is a baller, you just franchise tag him. If he plays pretty good and the Giants scrape out some wins and they have the 22nd pick and getting a QB is not reasonable, you offer him,
like a Kirk Cousins deal or something. Oh, a 1 year, okay.
Well, like a Mitchell Trubisky deal, but 1 year, $15 million, and you could take this or you could test yourself on the open market. Because it's year 4 and we haven't had a great year yet, and that's what you get drafted 6 overall to be great. So
basically 2 1-year deals, what you're saying, which I'm not mad at because
there's nothing he could do for me to give him anything.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Even if he balls out in the sense where you're saying the NFL is he's a baller, I'm not giving you a multi-year deal because you got to do it again. You got to show me you can do it again, and you got to show me you can stay healthy.
And unfortunately, we don't have that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was on him. He didn't either absorb the coaching or
it's a combination. I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's a combination.
He just didn't do the things.
Rich, I'm gonna keep it real with you, bro. It's a combination because 2 things are true. One, Daniel Jones got dealt one of the worst hands in football for a young quarterback with one of the worst offensive lines, consistently injured wide receivers, and goddamn Jason Garrett.
Yeah,
as
and
his
Jason Garrett was the worst part of that.
like
all.
Jason, like the scheme was so
Curls
mind-numbingly dumb.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Run
so it's
back
like
to the
you have
football.
all that with a young quarterback, and I truly believe it like legitimately negatively affected his growth. But then you also have like, yeah, he's not necessarily showing improvement year to year. He's still making some mistakes, and you're not seeing flashes like you would expect with a 6th overall pick. So it's a combination of both for me.
Just imagine playing Madden and just running curl flat all game. Just
That's what
curl
Jason
flat,
Garrett
curl
did,
flat,
man.
curl flat.
Don't forget
All
stick.
game.
We ran stick.
Yeah,
too.
stick
And running
concept too, and that's
Saquon
it.
up the middle every single run play.
Yeah, and also, quarterback diving, on your own territory twice.
The QB, the famous
QB
QB
sneak.
snake.
Yeah, the double QB sneak. Everybody says it was just one. No, it was two. I saw it right there.
The first
were
one
in
was
person.
defendable. The second one was like, dude, you got 4 yards of space. Like you can hand this ball off if you want to.
Oh god, it was pitiful. I can't believe that was the first game I actually had a good seat in, and never again.
Right? Yeah,
you
I'm
were there
not.
for that one.
Yeah, both
yeah,
me
I
and
went there,
me and
dude.
Hunt
Why?
I
went,
went
baby.
to New York for that one because I bought them. We bought them in the
We
beginning.
bought
of
the
season
tickets like in the
because
summer,
we
You
were
bro.
bought
betting-
tickets that ended up being sold for $3 at the beginning of the season.
Bro,
Come on.
we had that confidence. We were like, listen, we're gonna buy these tickets at the end because the Giants are gonna be fighting for a division spot in this or a wild card spot in this.
I'm
And
going to
Listen.
the game in December, and I'm like, I'm not buying them till that week because I
bro,
know
just
they're going to be
looking
dirt
at how
cheap.
much money I spent with the airport and staying around and the food and all that stuff, I regret every moment of it.
Listen,
Those
I
tickets
regret
were
all
so
the
cheap
decisions.
that I
too.
almost flew up just for the day because I was like, it's only going to cost me $200 to go to a Giants game because the
Wow.
tickets are free.
Listen, we learn from our mistakes.
Crazy.
We're sitting in the bleeders for the Chicago game, all right? I don't care what anybody says. That's good enough seats
Yeah.
for me, man. And it was
the
cheap.
Best seats in the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can see everybody's reaction.
Go
I like
ahead,
sitting
Rich.
up high. You get to see the safeties move and everything, but
Yeah.
it's, I'll be there in December.
I
Which
know
game
I'm
you
going
to?
The Washington game, December
Okay.
4th.
Okay.
I'm going to the Chicago game, which is week 4, and then
Yeah, we out to Chicago.
I'm going to this the
the
Lions game with my
throwback meetings.
friend, which I think
Yes,
is a week
sir.
before the Washington game. I think the Lions are the week before that.
Yeah, so going to the Chicago game, and then I guess if Bobby's going to Jacksonville, I'm going to Jacksonville.
Let's go to Jacksonville.
Let's do it, man.
Let's
The worst
ride.
city in Florida.
I had a bit of a hot take on the pod on Wednesday. I actually think that the Lions are going to be one heck of a team this year.
I think they're gonna be all right. I don't know if they're gonna be like competing for their NFC North division spot, but I think they're gonna be all right. They're headed in the right direction, in my honest opinion.
Listen,
I don't think their roster is where they want it to be. Like you look at their for example, the wide receiving core is just not great. Besides Amon-Ra St. Brown, but they've got good cornerstone pieces for a rebuilding franchise. So yeah.
I was gonna say, man, the Hard Knocks has really made me fall in love with the Lions team. Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Hard Knocks
Dude,
does it every year.
Dude, Hard Knocks made me a Dan Campbell guy, and I didn't like Dan Campbell when he saw the whole eating kneecaps and everything. Right, so
But I like their
didn't like it in the
entire
beginning.
coaching staff.
Yeah,
And it's all because of Hard Knocks,
guy,
yo.
Dude, my favorite guy is Deuce Staley. I never thought I would say that about an Eagles player, but my favorite guy is Deuce Staley, bro.
He was the
he's
Eagles
man.
coach. The only team that came out of Hard Knocks being came out worse were the Browns.
Mm.
Hugh
Browns are really
Jackson.
bad.
Yeah.
Hugh Jackson. Oh God.
Oh man, I was gonna
was
say,
so
but
bad.
but like that's actually the reason me and my friend are going to the Lions game, because we were just like, you know what, we kind of like the Lions, but also it would be nice to see Aiden Hutchinson versus Andrew Thomas and Kayvon versus
Aiden
Penei
Hutchinson is
Sewell.
going to be
That
a
would be
stud,
nice to see.
bro. Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a stud. I'm tired of all the disrespect Aiden Hutchinson got in the draft process. A lot of people were saying that he was just like a boring prospect. Dude, Aiden Hutchinson is going to be a baller, bro.
KB,
He
you
already
were a
is.
Trayvon Walker hater too, right?
Yes.
I
big
am a
Trayvon
certified
Walker hater.
Trayvon Walker hater as
Did
well.
preseason worry you a bit? Because I was like, oh, this guy does have some power.
I mean, it's the preseason.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying too.
I mean, it's the preseason. I'll wait to see what happens. Right now, I'm gonna enjoy everybody hyping up Trayvon Walker. Like I just saw a tweet about Defensive Player of the Year and Trayvon Walker.
And he was in the picture, but
Yeah,
Kayvon Thibodeau
Thibodeau
wasn't.
was
I
just
was
out the
like, what is
picture.
this disrespect, bro?
But you know, Trayvon Walker he could be one of the biggest draft risers and for a good reason of all time, or he could be one of the biggest busts of all time because he literally came onto the scene out of nowhere. when we were doing this draft process, I didn't even know who Trayvon Walker was until the freaking the combine, and then he balls out, and then all of a sudden he's like number 1 pick worthy, and it really like diminishes like the integrity of the number 1 pick. Like now we're taking guys based on potential. Like this guy hasn't produced in college, and he was a
I'll say
rotational
this.
guy.
I'll say this. I said it during the preseason. I hope Trayvon Walker performs at that number 1 overall pick level.
He better.
Whenever,
He better, 'cause I'm gonna be on his ass.
listen.
I'm gonna be on his
Whenever they play the Browns, that's all I'll say. Whenever they play the Browns.
Listen, I just can't wait to see Trayvon Walker versus us. I want to see him against Thomas.
Andrew
and
Thomas
Evan
is
Neal.
gonna put him in
And
a
Evan
jail
Neal. I wanna
cell,
see him
bro.
Put his ass on the ground, bro.
Evan Neal is gonna put him in a jail cell,
I
bro.
want to see Daniel Bellinger just chip block him and he just fall on the ground.
That was a good pick, Neil. I
Yeah,
like that.
Neil,
Yeah.
love him.
Speaking of guys we hated in the draft, there's never been a player on our podcast for the draft that I went in on more than Wyatt Davis, and now he's a Giant. So that's, I mean, I was like, this guy sucks. I was like, 2 thumbs down.
Thanks.
So you don't like the pickup? I'm guessing.
No, for practice squad, it's fine. Like he's strong, but I just during that year, I was like, people were saying he's a 2nd round pick, and I was like, I wouldn't even feel comfortable with him in the 4th round. But hey, he's on our
Wasn't he
practice squad
picked
now, so
last
I love him.
year? Was it
Yeah.
last year? Yeah, and the Steelers.
Is it
there's
just me or
there's
there's
a good
lot
amount
of
of
higher picks?
yeah
That were
from the
drafted
past
last year,
year.
like Chaz Surratt. And
Yeah,
a
that's an
couple
L
other
for me.
names.
I fell in love with Chad Surratt as a playmaker.
I did too. I did
And I
too.
should have been like, you know what? But learn to take on blocks because that's why you.
But
can't-
there,
that's
yeah,
what you
there's
get
a
when you-
lot
when
of
you
players
take a
from last year's
quarterback
draft,
and you make him a
yeah,
linebacker,
they're
yeah.
like cut right now, which is kind of weird to think about. They're just
You take a
cut after a
quarterback and you
year.
make him a linebacker. That's what happens.
But Rich, let me get your last thoughts, man. I'm about to go ahead and close this out as our last caller. You could even ask a Bronco question. Go right ahead, man.
Yeah, let's ride with this last question.
Oh, good lord.
that was top tier. That was top tier, Bobby.
I
That
can't
was
not
good.
do it. I can't not do it.
That's good. That was good.
Oh, if only there was some form of cash phrase that the Giants have used at some point. I
Yeah,
have
let's
nothing to throw back
shoot
to that.
ourselves.
Let's shoot ourselves in the foot, yo.
Let's be
Classical
garbage.
Burris style.
Let's be
No,
garbage.
no,
yeah.
that's a Chargers thing.
Yeah.
But where do you guys see yourself at the end of the season?
Crying, depressed.
Where I see us at 5-12. I think our defense is going to give up a lot of points.
Oh my
I think
God.
there will be the offense will have its moments, but at the end, there'll be time to move on for QB. What I'm hoping for, the realistic hope, is that by the end of the year, we're saying, all right, we get the right QB in this system and we're ready to roll. That's what I'm hoping for, is like, okay, we have the right people in charge after this year. Then I'll, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be 5-12. Because I think even if the offense plays well, I think the defense will still lose them games.
Yeah.
So,
And
I agree.
Initially, I was somebody that said 6 games is our floor, like 9 is our ceiling. But I'm slowly coming to terms with the fact that our defense is going to be absolutely horrendous for this first year, and I'm fine with that because once again, it's not like we're looking to win. It's not a priority. We're looking to just get the team right. So I'm fine with it. So I'm gonna stick with my floor now, which is like we're probably gonna be a 6-win team, and that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, you can tell the shape of this team right now and where it's at when we have like one of the easiest schedules you can possibly put together, and we still can't muster up 8 wins. Like I predicted 8 wins, but after all these injuries, after all what we're seeing in the preseason, after obviously the holes that we knew were on our team, like the passing defense, like obviously with the defensive backs, I knew that was gonna be a problem, but it seems like it's gonna be a bigger problem than usual. The losing Blake Martinez, it doesn't even 8 wins doesn't even seem feasible to me, even with a very, very easy roster. I mean, easy schedule. I'm probably gonna have to say like 6 wins, and that's maybe the ceiling. And I know it's crazy for me to say, but I'm not high on this team right now, to be honest with you. So, yeah.
That's
No, I
fine.
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
I like I said, I always love getting insight from other teams, and frankly, I prefer realistic ones rather than the insert colored glasses here in terms of
Yeah,
what your
the
team
blue
colors are.
lens. Yeah, for the Giants would be the blue lens. Yeah, I know.
Realistically, you could, if just in a word, is like at the end of the season, where we'll be is looking at mock drafts. That's where we'll be.
Yeah.
Which is
For the
where
5th
we
season
are.
in a row.
Yeah, when it comes November, I'm watching film. I'm looking heavy in college games.
Listen, It's either C.J. Stroud or Anthony Richardson, my boys. We'll see which one it is.
Speaking of college, this Penn State Purdue game is one of the sloppiest games I've ever seen.
There's also a Pittsburgh and West Virginia game that's going on, I think, right now.
I've never seen so many drop, and I'm not even watching the game just to like paying attention. Every time I look up, there's just a drop, or a huge missed tackle for a big play. Like, it's insane. This game is terrible. High scoring though, that's pretty cool. But
Rich, thank you for calling in, my man. It was definitely great to talk to you. Feel free to once again plug your podcast in the chat as you go out,
put your channel and podcast in the comment section, man. I'll subscribe.
For sure, man.
Yeah, so I'm affiliated with the MHRT network. You can look us up on YouTube. We have several Broncos based podcasts and the AFC West roundtable that I'm a co-host of. We go through, at least on the Wild Wild West, we've had a Jags guy on already. We've had a few other other teams on, so we're always open to have our opponents that we're coming up and going to play. We have 4 teams, so we're going to play all 32 teams at some point. And we like to kind of get your guys' takes from other teams and other fans even coming in from other shows. We have fans from all different teams that are kind of hitting us up in the chat, and it always makes for an enjoyable time. Just what you guys have here. You got a Broncos guy in today. Who knows who you're going to get in here tomorrow. So
great production. You guys have great production on your. I'm looking at it right now. It looks pretty cool, man.
Appreciate it.
Yes,
we put legit effort in to try to keep it polished and put out a quality content.
For sure,
dope,
man.
That's dope.
Yo, have a good one, bro. Once again, thank you for calling in, and feel free to, I guess, hit me up on Twitter if you do want to do that. Yeah. Have a good one,
and if you're
Rich.
trying to find me, that's my handle down there on Twitter. So feel free to reach out, and we'll go from there.
Mm-hmm. And
thanks, guys.
Before I close out the stream completely, we get these last couple of questions from the chat. Thomas Price says Martinez gone. Damn, Giants dropping linebackers like Tana dropping pounds. He is doing a pretty good job.
Hey man, looking good. Yeah. Looking good.
Yeah, he's walking a lot. He's walking quite a bit. Booker and Tackle says opposing defensive game plan for Giants was wrapped up by noon Monday. What do you mean by that? I'm confused what he means by that. Am I stupid?
Opposing defensive game plan for.
Booker, I'm gonna keep it real with you.
Not sure. Just let's keep going.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean by that. Nikki, what's up? She says, "Are the Giants going to bring in another tight end?" I don't know, but I would like.
I would hope
them
so.
To. Yeah, I would like them to.
I was talking about this. I don't know how old this guy is. Anthony Ferkser, right? I talked about him before. I
know him.
Yeah. I honestly think the Giants should take a chance on him. He's a guy that played for Tennessee, played a decent backup role for Tennessee, and played it well as a backup tight end for a couple of years now behind Jonnu Smith and Jeff Swain, whatever his name is. And I mentioned this on the podcast yesterday. Anthony Ferkser last year was ahead in the depth chart over Tanner Hudson. So if Tanner Hudson's on the roster, then Ferkser should definitely get a shot over Hudson because he was the second tight end and Hudson was the fourth tight end with Tennessee last year. So.
Tanner Hudson was at one point Bucks preseason superstar.
You know what's funny? I said this to Kush yesterday. All my buddies are Bucks fans because I'm in the Tampa area. So I'm doing the fantasy football draft at one of my friend's house, and we're watching the Giants game, and I see Tanner Hudson out there. I'm like, hey, look, there's Tanner Hudson. We just had your preseason star that we have on our team now, and my guy's like, who's Tanner Hudson? I'm like, damn. I'm like, damn. I'm out here trying to get happy for this Tanner Hudson pickup because he's our second tight end now, and yeah, he doesn't even know who he is. I was like, damn. I thought he was your preseason star, man. give me some hope. That's our roster.
Nah, you're not getting any type of hope from that, my boy.
Yeah, right.
You're asking for too much. But yeah, I hope we bring in another tight end. I don't know who there is even available. Is Eric Ebron still out there? I know he got catching problems, but like something, bro.
And a tackle. Can we get like a tight end and a guy that's actually a tackle, not a guy that he rotates at tackle sometimes. I want a guy that's like played some tackle and actually is a tackle. Now,
Mike Remmers.
Our entire
Stop it.
He's serious. He's serious.
You're serious.
He's serious. Yeah.
What else are we gonna throw out there,
bro? Yeah. If I go to the tackle free agents right now, and I swear, bro.
Podcast and I heard you say that a couple times. So I mean, listen. At this point.
It sounds crazy, but he's a guy who started a lot of games in the NFL.
Listen, at least
he wasn't the worst thing in the world when he played for us.
at least at the tackle, all of our depth guys that are not starting are interior guys. You could argue Josh Azudu. You could argue who's the other guy? Devery Hamilton. You could argue they play tackle. They're not tackles though.
They're all guards.
So they're guards. They're all interior guys.
Listen,
So
we
gotta
also
get a tackle
what's
here.
funny is that even though we have a bunch of interior guys, I don't necessarily like who we got at depth. I would love if we could bring in another like a depth center, somebody to be somebody I could have faith in at a
Another
center
one.
position.
We just got a bunch of guards.
Jack
Yeah.
Anderson.
Yeah,
Jack
he
Anderson.
He played some center last year with the Philly. He started like 2 games.
Hmm.
I think he played 1 game against us and 1 game against Dallas.
Yeah, he played in relief versus us, I think, and then started a full game versus Dallas.
Yeah.
For you. And then let's see. Shout out to Toba for the $2 super chat. Toba, what's up, my boy? He says, "What up, gang? McFadden season?"
McFadden season. Let's go. Listen,
is
Bobby's a
a-
McFadden guy too.
This
Bobby's
is
a
a
McFadden guy,
wicked
too.
agenda, and that's all I gotta say about it,
spreading
bro.
Micah McFadden propaganda everywhere.
I was a McFadden guy when I thought he'd get to play next to Blake Martinez. Now I'm a little worried.
Listen, he's gonna ball out, man. He's gonna ball out.
What makes
Let's
you
just-
say
let's
that?
Just keep our. Let's just.
What
keep
makes
our
you
hope.
say that? Can you give me some
Let's just keep
logical
our
reasoning
hope
right
in
now,
mind.
my boy?
Logical reason is that he's Micah McFadden. That's all.
He's a
that's all the
playmaker.
logic-
It's
Listen.
just can he do the down in, down out?
Yeah,
stuff?
the whole.
He's a playmaker. Like I
I
like
would've
him more
lo-
than Darian Beavers. I actually thought he was having a better
Thank you.
preseason than Darian Beavers, but
Me
Beavers
too.
just made the first play.
I think
Um,
Beavers made the big play, like the big plays, like the big hits, like he stopped that wide receiver screen and things like that. But Micah McFadden was extremely consistent. Like I was noticing him everywhere as far as pass rushing goes. Stopping the run, stopping the outside runs has always been Micah McFadden's strength, even in college. The way he takes his angles and gets through traffic to get to the ball carrier is very, very good. Like that's one of
Better
the biggest
coverage,
things I
too.
noticed when he was in coverage too. He's very he has like I guess you could say like fluid hips and he moves sideline to sideline pretty quickly. So I like Micah McFadden. Everybody gets on me on Twitter and here on the podcast. Yeah, keep smiling, Kush. Everybody gets on me because I like
This
Micah
guy,
McFadden.
bro.
My question is, why don't you like Micah McFadden?
That's what I'm saying.
I just don't see
saying.
what KB sees, man. All right.
Watch film.
I think Darian Beavers is better. That's just as simple as it
Oh,
is, man.
man.
Micah
You guys
McFadden.
just like bigger linebackers.
Yeah, I think Beavers is a lot slower. I think he's a good run stopper. He's a really good pass rusher as well. But Micah McFadden is just a better pass rusher. You could
You know
say
who my
Beavers
pro
is
comp
good.
was for Darian Beavers, and then I saw other people say it too.
Who?
Reggie Ragland.
Reggie Ragland. Oh wow.
Damn, yo.
Tell me how much
that's
you
great.
love him now.
Listen, that's your pro comp, okay? My
Bama.
pro comp
Bama.
is Luke. Let me stop, bro. I'm gonna stop
Luke
right there.
Kuechly.
I didn't say Keekly. You said Keekly. You
You
love.
said Luke.
You love
What
Darian
other
Beavers
linebacker
confirmed.
we know Luke.
Bookend Tackle says
Micah
DJ has a good
McFadden is
offensive
Luke Kuechly,
coordinator
okay?
and better line, so it's on him. No excuses. Even if he plays good, I still don't think Joe and the Dabes will keep him. Yeah, kind of with you there. Authentic says Walker looks like a beast, at least through the preseason. Can't even say you're wrong. You're right, man. And guys, I am actually like about now going 20 minutes over where I usually ended. I am a bit tired. I'm sure these guys are too. Been a little bit of a wild night. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much. You guys make the channel possible. You make the podcast possible. I say it all the time. Without your support, I am nothing. So thank you so much for tuning in and showing that support. Let me know if you guys like the new thumbnail, by the way. I think I'm going to use this for the 2022 season. And I'm going to start, like, numbering these. I've just realized I don't even know how many podcasts of Just Chillin' I've done. It's probably more than Young Guns, as crazy as that sounds. Because, like, Just Chillin' goes, like, without break, basically. And I think I'm going to start keeping track of these now. But, guys, make sure you check out Bobby if you haven't already. I'm sure a lot of you already know him. Make sure you check out Kid Blue if you have not already. Anything you guys got to plug coming up? Any one of you?
Listen to the podcast tomorrow.
There you go.
And tell me that it's not about this year and Blake Martinez didn't fit the scheme over and over again. Looking forward to those comments tomorrow. So we'll see you there.
Yeah. What about you, Gio?
Nothing I'm really plugging. I'm just been covering Giants news on the channel. I may do some other things, take based stuff on the channel, but nothing major right now. Yeah.
Here's how you can be mad at the Giants for cutting Blake Martinez. I was doing a God, I gotta guess. Tyree Phillips. I was working on his breakdown, and then they cut Blake Martinez. I was like, well, fuck this breakdown. I'm going to focus on this for the next 2 hours. So
yeah, screw this depth guy that probably would never get playing time.
yeah,
Listen,
I'm over this.
he could be a backup running back for us. I saw that Twitter post. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was
Oh yeah.
that was great. That was the best time I usually remember Marshall Newhouse when he was on the Raiders, he just got like killed
Yeah.
Mhm.
and fumbled. That was like, oh my, he actually lowered his shoulder and
Yeah.
put it
He
into
went
the
through
thing.
it, dude. I think.
Ball
Or
security
maybe
as
two.
well. Ball
Yeah.
security. Yeah.
He looked like a bulldozer, man. That's what you want.
The fridge.
The fridge, the bus, the fridge. But guys, once again, thank you so much. That's it for now, and we gonna be out.
Later.